fans here, Brett, and a solid second-place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boys over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
What's going on out there? Turn 2 Terribles podcast here, episode 21. We are legal drinking age now, boys. Right now.
Oh, shit.
Jimmy here. We're here with Chris and Jay-Z. What's going on?
On, everybody.
Missing Josh this week. He's out riding
unicorns.
we got a couple
what's
things.
he doing?
Chasing unicorns.
Yeah. Chasing.
What does that mean?
Something with ponies.
Pony racing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Unicorns.
Horses.
Let's not use that word on here.
Why?
He's
Unicorns are better?
Team Sparkle Unicorn?
Yeah. You're right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't
good.
say the word. Don't say it three times.
Don't say it 3 times now. Don't.
Sorry, inside joke, everybody. What's up, KR?
Yeah, what up, KR?
We're going to be starting with NASCAR this time, but there's some spicy NASCAR this week, so
yeah,
might be a little bit of fun.
Yeah, we're going to start off with NASCAR this week, and then we're going to go into dirt. Not much going on in dirt as the season's kind of wrapping up, but we do have a couple things to talk about. But let's start with the hot topic, Vegas, NASCAR. Joey Logano punches his ticket to the championship 4 with a W. Pretty eventful race, a racy race. I thought the track was pretty decent. A couple different grooves. Very interesting. Before we get into the hot topic, let's talk a little bit about the stuff surrounding it, because we know the whole Bubba and Kyle Larson thing. We're gonna get into that, but let's start off with maybe just the results. All right, you had Joey Logano. You had Ross Chastain second. I believe Kyle Busch was third. So that was your top 3. I don't know. What did you guys think of the race?
Top 3 punchable face. I mean, is Logano
for
top
sure.
3? Kyle Busch?
Number 1. Logano's number
sure.
1.
Yeah, I'm not a Logano guy. Never have been, never will be. I was wild having to root for either Chastain or Logano at the end. About that. What a decision. But honestly, I was all Team Chastain there at the end. He was pulling some Logano blocks, and it was at least entertaining. Obviously everybody watching on the, face of the planet knew Joey was faster there and had better tires. Yeah. So it was either, it was building to a good ending, and NASCAR got one, which is fine. I'm fine with Logano winning that race. I don't like it, but shout out to them for doing the right strategy. Pitted for tires. Mm-hmm. They were the first car to pit, and tires mattered enough, right? Because I think they said 15, 20 lap tires. Chastain was on, something like that.
Yes, 13. Joey had 13 lap fresher tires, and he did it at the right time, because I feel like William Byron pitted from P8, the caution after him, and he didn't ever make it back up through. And he had no choice. They even said it on the team radio that he goes, I can't do anything here, so you might as well do something. He's in a more aggressive strategy, and it worked for Joey perfectly. It was a good race. I think it was a good old school feel 1.5 mile race where there's multiple grooves, some passing. Some guys could run away for a little while. And he had some change of the guard there. Like Suarez was fast. Bubba Wallace was fast in stage 1. Cindric lurking around there. That was cool in the early stages. Ryan Blaney, fast. It was just one of those races that was cool where you had a lot of different guys kind of navigating through different things.
I think the tire fall off was a big factor. It felt like they could only go about. I mean, they were pitting like every 40 laps in the beginning. I mean, that's really what they were doing, and it seemed like tire fall off. Like once you got to like lap 20, they were really struggling.
And that's awesome. That's what it should be.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
we need.
We're all looking
I agree.
for it. It takes away from some of the aero stuff. It takes away from 190 qualifying laps. Guys have to move around. They got to search. They got to have a setup. To me, figuring that out at these other tracks where we need that fall off
Right.
is going to create the racing, not the aero, not the spoiler, not the package. This tire fall off and making these guys work for it is going to be it. And I think that Vegas is a good example of what it could be, what these cars can be, and they got some good things figured out in some mile and a half. So, I just hope it improves from here into next year with some other things that might change. But I think that's what you want if you're a fan of racing, not a fan of necessarily. I mean, there's entertainment. Don't get me wrong. If I saw a race like that go green checkers, would I have been entertained just as much personally? Yes. Were some of the restarts wild and some drama cool? Yes. But track like that where you have tire fall off, some strategies, short pitch, short run speed, long run speed, that's racing to me. That's just my
I think your mic's cutting out.
Go ahead.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. I agree with that too. Like the no arrow thing. Look at the end of that race, Logano tracking down Ross. If we didn't have tire wear, Ross is blocking it. Not even the way it was, just arrow blocking himself to a win there. Look at what Logano did not that long ago to Harvick, or I guess a couple of years ago now, but at Kansas, where he just basically parked in front of him, and no matter what Kevin Harvick did, he couldn't get around him. So, and I think that's kind of what's killing this car on the short tracks is you don't have tire fall off. You have no managing of your tires. And the whole point of that made short tracks fun was you had tire fall off and you had to manage the heat in the tires. And with this car, you don't.
I'm coming down from the heavens here.
What is that?
I don't know.
I don't
Somebody
know.
living in railroad tracks?
Oh no, it's a diesel truck beside me.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a heavy truck. I didn't hear it at first, but yeah,
I thought it was me.
I did too at first. It was like vibrating in my head. No, that's crazy. It's Black Ops, boys.
I agree with everything you guys said. The tire fall off was big. It was just good racing. You had guys ripping the fence. You had guys running the bottom. Just all sorts of different options you had throughout a run. It was cool. It was, you had some passing. Maybe not as much passing as you want, but there's a lot of passing. I thought it was pretty good.
Were y'all rooting for Justin Haley as hard as I was there?
I was. I had him in DraftKings, so I was really rooting for him hard. But it would have been cool anyway. I mean, colleagues still had a solid day. I mean, Haley, kind of got boned by that last
restart.
That last restart there, that last caution. But AJ Allmendinger still finished 9th, and Haley, he finished like 14th or 15th.
16th, I think it was, yeah. So big for colleague. I mean, it just shows that team how much they've gained throughout the season. We looked at Justin Haley was a 25th or worse car for most of this season. And AJ would be good at the road courses, but that was it. So seeing both those cars up there the last few weeks has been good signs for them for next season for sure, especially with both of them being full-time.
I was very shocked with Haley. He only took right side tires on that pit stop when he restarted in the lead, and he held it for a while. Like he pulled away a little bit. Like he held it for. If there wasn't another caution, he might. I don't know if he would have held on for the win.
He would have had a good shot at it.
Definitely, but he probably would have had a top 5. Yeah, it was. That was interesting. It was cool to see. I thought I was pretty impressed with Chase Briscoe. Some people kind of doubting his legitimacy and why he's there and everything, and he ran
in stage 1 and
and
recovered.
Recovered, got himself back up there. He was almost fighting for the win until the last restart. He still had a good finish, still top 10 finish, pretty good, decent points day, I guess, for him. So that is good. If you want a shot at this, you got to run up in that top 10 at the very least. So good to see him running up there. And I felt so bad for Blaney, not just because he was on my DraftKings, but because, that guy this year, man, like he's always top 3, like especially at the 1.5 miles, but all over. I mean, he's a top 3, top 5 car every week, and something happens, whether it's his own, his team, just whatever. He has a lot of good finishes this year. That's why he has a lot of points, but just can't seem to get the win. I thought he was going to be the winner there with about 100 to go or so. I really thought that was his race to win, but he kind of had. Did he have a tire go down, or I don't know what exactly happened?
That's what they said. He got loose. It looked maybe like a tire went down while leading there.
Yeah, went up into the wall and pretty much junked it. I think he did finish the race, but he was way back there.
Laps down, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a soldier. I mean, that's how many races now he's in the playoffs because of Daytona, where he got junked and that team battled through and slid in. He got into this round by doing the same thing at Bristol. So give him the effort for trying.
For sure. I feel like Blaney's in a position where he gets things turn around and get going. He could be a force. I mean, it's not anymore this year, but like he's shown speed throughout his career, and he's won some races, and they go in these spurts of like they can't seem to ever get the car to, whether it's Blaney or whatever. In the previous car, it was like they'd be good early and they'd fall off in a run, but they have speed. They put it all together. They're a team, and and I think Blaney's a guy who knows what the future holds, but he's a guy who could rip off multiple wins. I mean, it's all there. You just they're just right there.
For sure. And he's on a good team. I mean, look at his teammate just won. He's definitely I feel like he's been a championship 4 guy pretty much most of this, especially the last half of the season, regular season. Yeah. He really came along. So, yeah.
But something that on the other side of this, the opposite of everyone we just talked about, Chase Elliott, my God, was a guy that went ghost yesterday, finished 21st, never even relevant once. And he was even behind Gregson for the most of the race. Like, what is going on?
I don't get it because I don't think it's the car. I don't know if it's something with that. I don't know. Have a good night, KR. Thanks for joining us.
See you, buddy.
But man, like I know he said when he was pissed off last week, he said, Vegas isn't really a good track, and I don't get why. You know what I mean? Because the rest of the Hendrick cars did fine. Larson was up there for the most part until what we're going to get into here in a minute. Byron was up there for the most part. Even Gregson finished 11th, So I don't understand what it is with that track for him.
They were slow off the truck even.
Yeah.
They were just not a factor all weekend, and that's surprising from that team, from Chase Elliott, to unload that far off. It's not the first time this year that's happened, but usually it's not just him. Usually it's at least one of his teammates back there with him. He was just out in La La Land all race.
Denny Hamlin unloaded really badly. Like he started 32nd or something like that. He finished up in the top 5. I mean, and he worked his way back up there. And, Denny Hamlin's done that a bunch of times this year too, where he's unloaded really poorly and had to work his way up. Chase Elliott just didn't seem like he qualified like 24th and like stayed there all race. Very uncharacteristic, very unchampion like, to be honest, that you can't have that right now. You got to get out. You got to, even, maybe not necessarily compete for the win there when you're struggling, but you got to get yourself up into that top 10, man. You can't get a 21st place finish.
And the fact that they didn't even do maybe they couldn't, maybe it just wasn't in the cards for them to do some kind of strategy to get track position, kind of like Justin Haley did, or Logano. Logano wasn't a race-winning car until they did that strategy.
Yep.
You got to do something. They were just there. They seemed like they went to Vegas to go to the casinos and hang out because they were not there to race.
He didn't want it.
He didn't want it. Yeah.
He didn't want it bad enough, man.
He wants to get the hell back to the East Coast.
I don't know what it was, but yeah, that was definitely, if I'm a Chase Elliott fan, I'm a little concerned about that because we're going to another track that's going to be, I think, pretty similar in Homestead, Miami, where it's going to be. worse on tire wear, multiple grooves, another mile and a half, but way different for layout. But I mean, figure it out, bud. You got to. You got to at least get. He has the points. He was the regular season champion. He's still fine, but like you got to at least if these are tracks that you're still not like, all right, I can't compete for a win. You got to get yourself at least into that top 10 or so. You can't keep having that.
Yep.
Anything else before we get into the really hot topic from this race that
just
caught
want to
your
make
eye?
note of, just in case Ken Baum's watching, Kyle Busch spins out again by himself. What the hell? Figure it out, bud.
Yeah, he's
That's
trash.
like the 7th time this year.
Drove it up. Him and Chastain at the end kind of got into
Yeah,
it.
he saved himself, but damn, how many times are you going to spin out of the top 10?
This is why I'm kind of veering off here, but this is why I am not convinced about him going to RCR next year. Like it's going to be all of a sudden RCR is a championship contender.
Well, you just missed the point where you just said he drove back into the top 4 after that. So
yeah, some of that was pitch strategy, though. I mean, good for him, but like, yeah, he's not in the playoffs still. A lot of it is because of self-inflicted wounds, either by
two of those were blown motors.
Yeah,
while leading.
Sure, with the team, 100%. But even when
he's not here because he had 2 blown motors while leading, late in the race.
Okay, but still,
20 laps to go at Darlington.
Jimmy, where would he be? Where would he be if we had just normal points, though?
I have no clue. Probably not in the top
Chris,
8.
what do you think about that?
He'd probably be.
He has
top
one
5.
win. He has one win after the leaders took each other out. So I mean, it kind of balances out one of those blown motors. You think?
A DQ.
Yeah. So I mean,
DQ.
I'm not saying he's going to be bad or anything, but I'm just saying like the old Kyle Busch where he's going to go win 5-6 races. I think that's gone. I just don't see him doing that. Not in a
so you're saying he's
car.
worse?
Not in a. Not
Can
in
you
a
just
car.
clip this? Because I think there's gonna be some content next year. We might be able to replay this clip.
So you're saying
you're saying Kyle Busch is going to win 5 races next year?
Tyler Reddick is better than Kyle Busch? Is that what you're saying?
Right now, yes. I would say Tyler Reddick is better than Kyle Busch. I will say that right now.
I'm not saying Kyle Busch can't get it done. I'm not saying like he's not like a playoff driver. I'm just saying I don't think he's a championship contender. I just don't.
I just think you should clip that so I can use it on social media.
Go ahead.
I don't know. That's your genius move. Your boy genius here.
I mean, there's a podcast. Door Bumper Clear said that Larson was going to struggle in the new car. Remember? Or
That was just TJ Majors.
Sorry,
Larson just fell off. Larson doesn't want it enough anymore.
Yeah,
he's lazy
true.
now. He just doesn't want it. So
I mean, I guess the transition rate of that. You saw how he fought.
At least 3 wins in 2023. No. I just don't see it.
I mean, Austin Dillon won a race.
Reddick's won 2.
He won 1.
3.
You're telling me he's only 2/3 better than? He's less than 2/3 better. Than
I think 3 is like the max. I think 3 is like the max.
How many guys have 3 wins this season?
Right.
Chase Elliott.
Right. So next year, I'm sure is the parity going to continue? We don't know. If the parity does continue, no way Kyle Busch gets 3 wins.
Not to this. I think there's parity, but not to this level.
If it doesn't continue and RCR actually does take that step, okay, I can give them 3 wins, but I don't think anything more.
What step do you think they have to take with this car? It leveled the playing field.
Sure, but they're not running top. Like besides Reddick's running top 10, but where's Austin Dillon? He's usually 15th to 20th every week.
Reddick and Kyle Busch debate again. Then that's driver. You're telling me.
I think Reddick's on the up and Kyle Busch is on the down.
I mean, fair enough. I think that's a fair statement. But I mean, they haven't fully crossed yet.
Age tells the story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's not young anymore.
I'm not trying to talk shit on Kyle Busch. I'm just saying I don't see him.
Just saying, I'm talking shit on Kyle Busch right now.
Listen, I'm actually sitting here defending Kyle Busch as something I never thought would happen. This is wild times right now.
This is the upside down.
Like I used to. Like Kyle Busch has really grown on me over the years. You know,
yeah, because he wins less.
Well, no, it's not.
I like it. I think the more stupid shit that he does is the more I liked him because it was mildly entertaining.
Oh no, I'm the opposite.
I think the taunting to the fans. At least he's embracing it. He's not trying to
that's after a win. But I'm just saying it's the stuff when he doesn't win. Was the
I
stuff
just
that always
makes me
turned me
chuckle.
off.
Yeah, I don't think he's too bad with
Maybe
that.
that's why I get along. Maybe that's why I can tolerate Smeal so long.
Moving on.
Kyle Busch really gained my respect and changed my mind when he swept all 3 series at Bristol a couple years ago. And I'm like, all right, like, I mean, I knew he was good before then, but I respect him a lot more, and I can tolerate him. I can understand why he is the way he is. So.
He's not the guy top of my list of hated. That's still probably
Yeah.
Joe Logano or Denny Hamlin. Anyway.
Yeah, Daddy Griffey chiming in a couple things here. Thinking 3 wins next year. The 8 car should have had 3 by midseason. I agree. They had some speed.
That's a train.
Times. That is a train. Who lives by a train track?
Is that Williams Grove running right now?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, train. Griffey, Kevin
Just
said
stay the
Roche,
fuck home.
KB and JGR went stale, and a change will drive and improve on him.
I agree with that. Yep.
If there's ever going to be a guy motivated, you're going to find one right there. But by all accounts, he had a chance to re-sign at Gibbs. So what's really the anger here? Like, after at some point when Ty gets in a car and then Gibbs goes, well, I don't really need you anymore. We asked you to come back and you missed your shot.
Something along they had no money, and then basically he could come back but not in the 18 car was an option, and that is when things kind of went sour, it sounds like.
But that was after the offers were made, right? Like, if Kurt doesn't get hurt and Ty doesn't ever get in a Cup car this year, KB's probably back in Gibbs because he knew his market wasn't what he wanted it to be initially.
I think the money came
Toyota
through.
made it clear they wanted him back.
They cashed the check on Truex.
Yep.
His money got cashed first, and that kind of narrowed down the options. I think it was going to be one or the other. I think one or the other.
Come on, I don't know, man. You think Gibbs said, well, we spent it all on Martin, you're out? I don't know. Man.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But it kind of felt that way. Once Martin announced, and then Kurt Busch's deal, Ty Gibbs running well, definitely accelerated it and narrowed it down more. But I kind of feel like everyone kind of thought Martin was retiring. It was going to be an open slot for Gibbs, and it just didn't go that way.
Yeah.
The domino for me was Kurt getting hurt and Ty running that car.
That was the
to me, that was
lit the domino.
Linchpin of everything. They could have had Martin on whatever path they were going and said, if we can work this out with Kyle, he's back for another year. Because I don't think they ever intended to have Ty in that car next year. I really don't.
Right.
I mean, never had the intention for next year. Resign Martin for a year. KB comes back next year. Ty, they switch rides. KB's in the 19, Ty's in the 18. Whatever they do. I never thought the Truex had anything to do with Ty or KB. To me, it was, I'm a free agent. I'd want to come back. Oh, this is your offer? I'm going to go searching. Kurt gets hurt. Kurt gets hurt. Ty jumps in and runs top 10 in race number 2, and they went, oh, maybe he can do this. Well, sorry, KB, we're good now. Thanks. And they were going to try to get him back in some sort of a Toyota deal, try to work it out. And then they were like, well, we don't really need you anymore. I mean, that's just like, to me, it looks so obvious. I could be
right. No, I mean, I think that definitely, and Jimmy, I think you and I talked about it at Pocono or shortly after Pocono, after Gibbs' run. It just kind of, maybe even on this show, I mean, we talked about it a couple different ways, that kind of, Ty Gibbs coming out and running that well definitely put the opportunity on the table like, hey, maybe we can just save a bunch of money. Put young kid that can drive in car.
Yep.
Yeah, you would love to have all of them, but with only allowed having 4 cars and the money to go with it, I mean, a cheaper option who's hyper talented, then by all means, go get it.
It just sped
and he has
up
some backing.
It sped it up a year and turned. They didn't need a KB right now. They don't need a KB, and they said we're going to move on. So, and then KB kind of backtracked and went, oh, this is my actual market everywhere. Oh, now I don't have an option to come back. Right? So,
yep.
You're going to sleep the bed you made, bud.
Other than KB, there's no other driver in the series with more than 1 championship. It truly came down to money. He should be the highest paid active driver.
Right, but
debatable.
That doesn't matter anymore because the sport, the model doesn't go on wins and championships. It goes on marketability. And who's good for marketing? Chase Elliott.
Yes.
Ty Gibbs. Noah Gragson.
And I think that mindset right there, highest paid active driver is probably what Kyle Busch was thinking. I think that was another thing that probably got in the way of the negotiations. Right. He probably still thought he should be getting paid a lot, and he's like, bro, you ain't bringing sponsorship. Your sponsors just left. How do you want us to pay you? You know?
Right. And this has been a big thing in NASCAR. It's been pretty open. Eminem Mars leaving was Kyle Busch's salary.
Yes.
Kyle Busch was still in a contract of the old school salaries that were $15, $20 million a year. Okay. So KB coming out of a contract says, well, I'm still worth 10, 12, 15, $18 million a year. And that was paid by Eminem Mars. And Eminem Mars said, peace. Thanks for all the good publicity over the years, Kyle. We're out. And guess what? Sponsors are not paying that kind of money. Drivers are not making that kind of money. And Kyle went, well, wait a minute. What do you mean? Why do you think Matt Kenseth retired? Same
reason. They said it wasn't so bad. It was like, I'm not going to go run for a shit team. I'm out.
That's right. This is kind of like salary cap for rookie. Right. It's kind of like salary caps for rookie in the NFL. First round draft pick, you get paid this.
Mm-hmm.
But remember Sam Bradford? Remember that contract?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's one that broke the system.
In the first round,
I don't want to think about that.
Gets paid a tenth of what Sam Bradford got paid. Right. This is today's NASCAR, and that's what KB, like, whoever his agent is or representing him, went, like, if they didn't know this, they're freaking clueless. You know what I'm saying?
I'm having a PTSD episode when you mentioned Sam Bradford.
I'm just relating it that way. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah, the Eagles signed him for a shit ton of money.
Yeah, he got the bag twice.
All right. Well,
but I think that all speaks to, we would all hear, and I think most of the fans of the sport and in the industry itself would love to be like, you've won 2 championships. You've won 50-plus races. You get the bag. But the model's not set that way. That's not how it works.
He's had the bag.
That, true.
He's been making the bag every damn season until it was time to resign.
Yes. I think if you had a model where your team, and I think this is maybe not specific to Kyle Busch, because I don't think he's ever getting $15 million a year, ever.
Who knows, right?
Yeah, we don't really know the details.
To get a guy that's talented, like a Josh Berry, outside of Dale Jr. is probably the only guy that could pull that off, to get him in a ride for even one full season. And he's a hyper-talented dude. So it's just, you need a model where it benefits a team to maybe not go after the sponsor dollars and could fund the guy off of winnings and whatever else you do. But it's just not realistic the way it's set right now.
Yeah, that's a bigger discussion for sure. And all the numbers are starting to come out about, what teams are really worth and what NASCAR earns and these tracks earn. And that's part of this problem. And I think that the teams are starting to understand it. And it's a bigger picture of the broken model that is NASCAR, that has lived for a long time until these sponsorship dollars started to go away. And sponsors not stepping up and paying 36 race sponsorships anymore. You get 10 here, you get 10 there, you get 10 here. And the budgets have come way down. And the drivers are affected by it, right?
Yep.
Right.
They can only do so much work, no matter how much Chase Elliott loves Napa. Napa says, I'm only spending this much money.
Right.
Period. And there's that much there's that much for that. And the teams, that's why the teams now are going to bat and saying, NASCAR, we need to have more piece of the pie to make sure we have something left when this all goes down. We want to sell this team. And then part of that is driver salaries. I know it has to be playing a part in it. So there's a lot of background stuff happening right now. And
there's a lot of things.
We'll see how it plays out.
It's gonna be a fun off season, things like that, but
probably get this. I am very worried about those off-season talks. I don't think it's going to go very well. I worry about, like, not necessarily a lockout situation, but it's going to get ugly.
We'll see. But
let's get into the hot topic.
Is it time?
It is time. We have finally reached.
So during the Vegas race, Kyle Larson kind of got a little tight on Bubba Wallace coming out of turn 4. Bubba got into the wall, and I don't even fucking know. He just completely hooked Kyle Larson, completely wrecked them both, and took out Christopher Bell, who was in the top 4 in points. Put him now in a must-win situation because it also he got collected in it for one and only time. Ever gonna feel bad for Christopher Bell, but I felt bad for him there. So it looked very intentional. The retaliation. A good thing I can't see that.
It's a wing panel, a miniature wing panel. It's aluminum. Just fell all over my rig, my bed.
So it looked like Bubba definitely turned him on purpose as retaliation for putting him in the wall, which they never actually touched. you know, then after they get out of the car, you know, he starts shoving Kyle Larson. Let's just talk about the whole thing, because there's multiple layers to this where I think people differ on. Fair or foul him going after Larson out of the car? I'm saying fair.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
I thought in the moment, I thought, yes, that's what NASCAR wants. Fight with the front stretch. Fight with the front stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of forgot there's a rule in place ever since the Kevin Ward thing with Tony Stewart for the hot track. I don't know where the cars were.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it. He's not thinking about that. I'm sure he looked both ways before crossing the street. But you know my point. I'm kind of torn. I think it's fair only because it's what NASCAR wants. I think they loved it secretly. He might get punished anyway, but secretly they wanted it because it's on the front stretch in front of all 10 fans they had in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, 10,000 fans, whatever it was. But it was right there. You want to see that passion, but I just don't know if that was the right execution.
I'd rather see him do that than what he did to get them there.
True. No, that's fact. I thought that was part two.
That's honestly, yeah. It is. But Jeremy?
I want to put it all in one, and all of it was a fucking disgrace, in my opinion. So this is a bigger topic than just the incidents that played out on the track and then in the infield or wherever the hell it ended up. This speaks to Bubba's personality and his emotional wear it on my sleeve overreaction that we've seen before, good or bad. Okay, good or bad. It's gotten him some love a little bit. It's gotten him some little criticism, and it's gotten absolutely some hate. Okay, so when we all watched the actual incident on the track, the first one, Larson made a mistake, nothing intentional, car didn't work. Obviously, Bubba sitting in his car doesn't feel that way, right? He can feel that way. Nope. I think it's a misjudgment, but in the incident going 160 miles an hour off the corner in Vegas when you're running in the top of it and you think you have a good car, you can think however you want to think. But as soon as that ended, that's when everything else went wrong, and it is 1,000% on Bubba Wallace, and all of it is a disgrace. So Kyle Larson, if Bubba thought he was done wrong and wants to right hook dude into the fence, he has all the ability and right to do that, I guess. It's wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Knowing the safety issues with the car.
Yes.
Knowing you want to take care of your fellow competitor no matter what just happened to you. Knowing right hooking someone at a high-speed 1.5 miles. Okay? Mm-hmm. All of that is a disgrace.
Yes.
All of it. Then, if that somehow in his brain that didn't prove his point, gets out of the car and does what he does, that circus. Okay? Kyle Larson at that point has already been taken out of the race, which Bubba thought he was. So if, let's say Bubba was right hooking a guy into the fence, thought that was enough. No. That wasn't enough. Now you're going to go confront the guy after you just right hooked him. And it's like this uneven balance of like, whoa, my guy just went off the fucking deep end. And it proves to me, again, he is not mature enough to handle this. And he's not been mature enough to handle this through all of the controversies and all the things surrounding him most of his career. Whether it's finishing second and crying on pit road, whether it's through the COVID stuff, whether it's through the Talladega stuff, whether it's through all of it. He is not emotionally mature enough to handle this on top of the pressure of racing for Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. He's been hired in a no-win situation, and he just solidified the fact of anybody who was on the fence about him probably isn't anymore. Yeah. For any bonus points he's gotten this year, handling himself some right ways, showing some true emotion, wearing it on his sleeve in some good ways, right? Like I thought it was a little corny with the whole when he finished second, I failed my team, I'm a piece of shit, whatever, like self-deprecating, whatever. Okay. Little dramatic there, bud, but like okay, I get it. Like you're passionate. I love it, right? I expect some of these kind of passionate mistakes from like a Ty Gibbs who's 18 years old. This guy is not anymore. He's been around. This is not his, not his first time here. Okay, so all of it was wrong, all of it. But to me, man, it's almost like literally evenly wrong what he did afterward, hooking him in the right rear and then going after this guy. Now, what Chris said about what NASCAR liked, whatever, so there's no fair for me at all. None. But did you notice they were showing this accident live? They were showing the incident replay on NFL games. They were cutting into it, showing this replay on NFL games.
Yeah.
Do you think that would have ever happened if this incident was between Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Eric Almirola?
Yes. If there's a fight, they're gonna promote the shit out of that.
Because the football game was on NBC also. I think that plays a factor in this too.
They're trying to promote it for their own
couple
ratings.
things here. So I wish Bubba would have jumped his ass in the garage. That'd have been epic. To some degree, just for the fact of what he was going for. Whatever point he was trying to prove, which I don't think he should have done anything. We looked at Josh Berry the day before, same exact incident, goes on to win the race. If you're going to go do that, don't do it there, I guess is my point.
Sure.
What I was trying to get to. You don't right hook a guy.
No.
Bubba, the Alex Bowman incident we talked about, he did that to Alex Bowman because Alex Bowman hooked him. Michael McDowell at the All-Star race at Bristol hooked Bubba Wallace, and Bubba was pissed at after Michael McDowell. Fair. So now you're the guy doing the right hooking. Why are you still going after Kyle Larson? Larson drove it in, aggressive as hell, pulled a slide job, didn't quite make it. I don't know if Bubba's car was wrecked.
He wasn't even close to making it.
No,
he just got tight.
I don't know if Bubba's car was wrecked or not. I don't know. Like, it hit the wall. I don't know if it's broke. All you've done from that point on is make sure it was broken and make sure that you now look like an idiot by hooking him in the front stretch. The shoving him thing, I can get past that. The hooking him thing, it's like, dude.
The hooking him thing is, you got to do one or the other. You can't do both.
You definitely can't do it. You shouldn't. I don't know. It's not there.
But here's what's wrong with it. If Bubba can get out of the car, even if the race finishes, get out of the car, look at the incident, would he have done any of it the same way?
No.
If he truly knew how that incident looked on TV, would he be upset and frustrated? Yes. But would any normal, sane human being done all of that over that?
No, and I think that's where Jeremy has a point. You go back to when he finished second at Daytona. That's when I really started liking Bubba. I mean, I liked it when he won the truck race at Martinsville years ago. Really cool. Finished second to Denny Hamlin, I think it was, in the Daytona 500, and he was crying on stage with his mom. Really cool. That's the good emotion of Bubba Wallace.
This is the bad side.
We've seen the ugly side.
Two sides to every coin.
And you've seen it. You talked about the Michigan thing. I think that showed how much pressure he's under. I think Kansas took some of that pressure off. But
he still gets out in victory lane and wants to talk about his haters. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
right. I mean,
he wears it, like, literally.
Right. And that's the thing.
It's burying him.
You know who else did that? Tony fucking Stewart. You know who else did that? Kyle Busch. This isn't the first time we saw this. Bubba's just the next one in a long line of guys that get pissed off on the track, do stupid shit, say stupid shit. He's just the next one. You could like him or hate him, but it's nothing new. But everybody wants to act like it's something new because it's fucking Bubba. And that's what's pissing me off about this whole thing. You know what I mean?
Correct.
We've seen this so many times. So here's the thing. Jeff Gordon, Clint Boyer, years ago, same shit. Intentionally wreck, go and fight, under caution on the fucking track. Everybody fucking loved it. Nobody hated Gordon. Nobody hated Clint Boyer.
I think the Gordon Boyer thing was in the garage. That's when Clint Boyer ran like 8 miles.
No, they fought on the fucking track.
He's talking about Jeff Burton.
Jeff Burton.
Oh, Jeff Burton. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jeff Burton and Gordon. Right. And I get it. I'm not. The punishment shouldn't be necessarily for going and shoving Larson on the track. I know there's rules. I think the punishment needs to be for hooking the guy.
Yeah, I agree.
The fighting thing, I mean, props to Larson. I don't know if he's still on probation or whatever for his incident, but he wanted no parts of that. He'd probably get his ass kicked anyway. He's not a big dude.
Yeah, Larson was definitely like...
We've seen Bubba at Pocono. He's a rather big dude. I don't know. Maybe that was in Larson's head, or Larson is mostly confused by what the hell just happened.
Probably.
I think, honest to God, I think so, because he's like, I got tight.
He was like,
and I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Right.
Like, he didn't drive the guy into the wall and knew what he was doing. It was just an on track incident.
Ran out of room, right?
And then he gets right hooked, and now the guy wants to come beat his ass. Like, yeah, I don't think Larson's like physically wants to go do that. Larson's not mad now. He probably was confused and was like, "Why is this a thing?"
Because he just got taken out.
100%, right? So I do want to go back here for 1 second. Griffey talked about the incident in the past with Bubba and what Kyle said over iRacing. Bro, wake up, grow up, dude. That's 0% of any of this. Like, not a shot, my guy.
They were just together.
We'll just chill on that. So
Bubba was one of the first guys to help him, that reached out and talked with him after that incident and gave him
they're friends.
Stuff.
So all these other semantics about Bubba leaving the car, walking on the track, AMR safety, none of that fucking matters. He'll get fined for some of that shit. That's all semantics. This leads to a bigger issue with Bubba and his personality,
right?
And it's a problem. And actually, right before we got on live here today, tonight, there was an apology written by Bubba. Do you have any of that? Have that handy to read that? Do you have that nearby?
I don't have it
here. I think it's
in general. I got it.
So Bubba Wallace issues an apology here just in the last few minutes. You got it?
Yeah, I want to apologize for my actions on Sunday following the on-track incident with Kyle Larson in the number 5 car. My behavior does not align with the core values that are shared by 2311 Racing and our partners, who have played a crucial role in my incredible journey to the top of this great sport. I want to apologize to NASCAR and the fans, along to Christopher Bell, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Toyota, for putting them in a situation in the playoffs that they do not deserve. That was also, I compete with immense passion, and passion at times comes frustration upon reflecting. I should have represented our partners and core team values better than I did by letting my frustrations follow me outside of the car. You live and learn, and I intend to learn from this.
And hopefully he does.
So,
Kurt Busch.
Agreed. And I talked about this.
I'm just going to keep listing names of the guys that did all the same shit here.
Right,
well,
but
I'll
Jeremy's
bring up
not attacking Bubba. He's
No, I know. I'm just names are coming up in mind. That's all.
No, you're 100% right. And I talked to a guy at work today who is a huge Kurt Busch fan. Okay, so he's a Bubba fan, 2311. He's all in on it. And I talked to him, and I brought up Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch got fired from a ride for this kind of stuff, right? Twice. What is Kurt Busch's reputation in the garage right now today?
He's one of the most respected drivers. People are really upset about him retiring.
Best
People have come
ever.
Yes.
Right? So I'm not saying this can't change.
Absolutely.
Okay? But what happened yesterday, all parts of it were flat out unacceptable.
He can't ever do that again.
Yeah. Correct. So that's my take on it. To me, there's no 50-50. There's no, NASCAR this, they want that. I don't give a flying shit what NASCAR does with this. Every bit of it was a disgrace.
Yeah. I'm a Larson fan through and through. I thought, Bubba had a right to be upset with Larson. Went way too fucking overboard with the retaliation. Right. You can't sit here and bitch about the safety of the fucking race cars. Sit in there and be like, oh, these cars are pieces of shit. Bubba was on record saying this too. He's one of them, saying how these cars are pieces of shit. All the fucking hits hurt. NASCAR doesn't listen to us. They don't give a fuck about safety, and then you go and do something like that at 150 miles an hour. That's fucking bullshit for one.
Yep.
You didn't just fucking tear up a bunch of cars that a lot of people worked on, and a lot of money just went out the fucking window over something that was probably not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things.
And you had a race-winning car.
Yeah, I mean, probably not after that.
It depends if it was better. He didn't even give it.
He hit pretty hard, dude.
He didn't even give it time to find out if it was broken.
No.
He hit about as hard as Blaney did. He was probably toast after that, but not unrunnable. You know what I mean? But hooking him, that just doesn't sit well with me. I mean, I understand he has to deny it in the press because he doesn't want to incriminate himself. I'm totally fine with that. But he says that his steering gave out. You watch the telemetry. You don't go full throttle down the track if your steering goes out. He was full throttle that entire time as soon as he hit the wall. He knew what he was doing. He was pissed. Yep. It was just a little overboard. It's not the first time we saw retaliation. It won't be the last. I'm fine with the shoving after, to be honest. I really don't care about that. I think sometimes if you want I just don't think you do both. You know what I mean? In this case here, you don't wreck them on track and then fight them. You know, I think I'd rather see him go punch Larson in the mouth than do what he did. That's my opinion on it.
I
that
agree with
was-
that completely. I'm fine if they both end up wrecking off the corner there and they're in the infield and he gets out and is pissed off and has words and they end up shoving each other. You know what, bro? You do you, right? Larson gets out and flips him the bird and calls him an asshole and they fight. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm all in. Like, I'm fine. No issues with the people, the situation I'm in. The situation that led him up there, he could be mad he got put in the wall. I'm okay with that too.
Mhm.
You want to see him later, like
Send him off
his
the
car-
turn 100 miles an hour.
but his car might have been hurt to the point he never gets back to him, right? And then after the race, let's look at it, talk about it. Let's go have a talk, and if we fight, we fight. To go do what you did with the safety shit going on, and
Yes.
then get out of the car, and then do what you did, even more like
You don't
even
know
more
if Larson's
aggressively
all right.
in this guy's
Yeah,
face.
he
Like,
didn't get out in a hurry at all. Like, Larson definitely he hit driver door square, which I guess is an upgrade over backing in from
Yeah.
what we've noticed. But like, I was torn. I'm a fan of both. Pretty big. They're the only two guys I follow rather closely. I watch. I don't have I'm a Gordon guy, so I just kind of hang out now. But those two guys are the ones that I root for most, and it's like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
Fuck me. So
yeah. Well, and this is hard. I saw some people right away like giving Larson shit about this, and it was Larson, blah 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 blah, and about the reason that it all started was because of Larson, right? And I'm like, that's a Larson fan, or that's a Bubba hater. I'm looking at this like I don't dislike either of these guys. I appreciate Kyle Larson. I appreciate Bubba Wallace. I'm glad he's in this sport. I am. I'm glad he's a part of this sport that I love. But that can't happen. It is unacceptable in every capacity.
Yeah, I agree. I just think he's such a polarizing figure that all the viewpoints on this are to the max right
But-
now, and I just think, and that's why I keep saying,
he retaliated to the max. So
he did.
to Jeremy's point.
Pretty extreme.
Yeah, pretty extreme.
I mean, I do agree. Someone I see in the thing from Griffey handle situations. I think that's a 23-11 thing. I think he's been better. If you look at,
He's been, I mean,
think
he's
that's a
been
Kurt
open about
Busch.
his mental health issues too. Like,
right,
he just needs
that
to
was
get
a
some
dude
anger
that's-
management and shit.
That was a dude that snapped.
Yes.
That was a dude that snapped, and I think it's because he was a race-winning car and he knew it.
Yep.
And he hasn't. And Coy LaJoy talks about it on the Stacking Pennies thing. He's not used to being up there. So you look at his Atlanta deal with Chase Elliott. Bubba's just now starting to get used to being up there, and I don't think he's quite realizing that he's been one of the best average finishing drivers since July.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, dude, you don't have to go that far anymore. You're not racing for Richard Petty where you're a top 6 fastest car gets wrecked and now you won't see a top 10 for 6 weeks. Like, you're going to be back next week fast as hell unless you're suspended. So, like, be a little like, hey, like, there's no way Freddie Kraft, they didn't even have time to tell him to be pissed off. He was just immediately snapped.
Griffey also talked, is that something 2311 should do? It looks like they did. Based on reading that apology,
Right.
that's not something Bubba sat at his coffee table and wrote down.
Right.
After that race and throughout the night,
Danny,
there were probably talks from the highest parts of 2311 that sat him down and said, this will not happen again. This is unacceptable. This is not what we're trying to all the things he wrote. Those aren't things you just draft up in your head at your coffee table and you're still mad. Those are things that were like, bro, you're not going to be around here if this happens again. That's what that sounded like to me in the apology. Sponsors, teammates, right? Christopher Bell, Joe Gibbs Racing. This is more far-reaching than just 2311. Christopher Bell was affected by his rage, by his issue. So, to me, I think that's a 2311 issue. I don't think NASCAR's going to have their say as far as the things that he did that broke their code of conduct, right? The getting out of the car, the safety crew, the whatever else. If hooking someone in the right rear under green flag conditions, I'm not so sure what I think about that because it was still green flag. It wasn't a yellow. It wasn't putting safety crews in danger at that point. So whatever NASCAR is, but this to me was a 2311 handled thing.
Mm-hmm. And it should be. I think they need to get him some counseling. A lot of guys went through this before. Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, those type of guys. They've all guys that were loose cannons themselves, and maybe never done something exactly like this, but have done some things pretty similar. And just Kyle Busch is another one too. Both the Busch brothers. I mean, there's a long list of these guys doing shit like this. It gets celebrated most of the time. It's already being sold. Las Vegas put, hey, round 2 next year in March, and they're trying to sell tickets for next year. How do you fucking suspend or penalize a guy for that? That was the next question in this. I think there'll be a penalty. Do you think he'll be suspended? No. Chris?
Wait, are you saying should he or will he be?
I think he should be one race just for total package here. And honestly, if I was 2311, I'd consider doing it, because if you're truly trying to help the dude, that might be the wake up call right there. Like, bud, we can't have this for all these partners.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I'm Denny Hamlin, part of his maturation is taking this, right? Harvick had to do it. Like, hey, own this so much you get to sit and watch next week's race with Kurt Busch for a whole different reason. Because you were, that would be, if I was 2311, that's what I would have at least talked about doing. I know there's probably more to it that they can't just do that, but you gotta do something. But
I think you put him on probation for an entire year. And that way, if he does anything stupid like this again, bro, you're automatically parked. And I think you fine him and you dock him points, which isn't that big of a deal at this point. I'm fine with they sit him down for a race, but I think, put him on probation through the next season and be like, all right, you're on thin ice, buddy. You do anything, you're fucking parked for multiple races. I'd rather that and give him a fucking reprieve on this, than just, oh, here's a slap on the wrist. You're already fucking out of it. Here, you're suspended for Miami. And then, maybe that, you know what I mean? Maybe that straightens him up a little bit. But I think if he had to do, because Kyle Busch had to do it, there's a lot of other drivers that had to be on probation for an entire year. They were on thin ice for a while, like weeks, months at a time. I think that helps in the end, because they have to watch themselves not just for 1 or 2 weeks and then it's gone away when they're back in a race car. So I'd rather see that, but I could see them going either way. And I could, I do think there's a punishment coming. I just hope it's not like, don't suspend them for the rest of the year. I think that's a little overboard. Not when you're fucking selling tickets off of it.
Yeah, I don't think anything was egregious enough for a whole year. If they get sat down for a race from NASCAR, it's again because he broke a golden rule. You don't do this. Okay,
right.
Whatever that is. If he gets sat down for a race from 2311, that is their wake up call to him. Okay,
I didn't even think of that.
So Nemechek, that's the answer.
It could be handled different ways here. I think the only reason NASCAR would do it is if he broke a golden rule that, hey, you do this, you're out of race, regardless, no matter who you are, how many offenses. I don't know if he did any of that. That I think that could happen if he did. I don't think NASCAR sits him down for a race if he didn't, because they want drama, they want playoff, they want this stuff, and again, using it for promotion to get a guy suspended. They didn't park him; he parked himself, right? So race was over. If 2311 says, "Hey, we're going to make this clear that this is not acceptable," and they put out a press release, "We've suspended Bubba Wallace 1 race." Okay, I'm okay with that. That's up to the team.
I think that's the way to do it.
Employee. Okay, I don't think they should. I don't think he gets a race at all.
No.
Again, unless there's something I didn't see from NASCAR. Okay, I'm not an official. I'm not NASCAR, but I don't think he gets suspended at all, in my opinion. Do I think there is a fine? I don't know what the fine is for, because it was under green.
Those underneath that umbrella term.
It would be
actions detrimental to stock car racing.
I was gonna say he did put his hands kind of on
and official, and he walked across the hot track.
Right. That's
intentional wrecking.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know what the NASCAR's.
Oh yeah, and he walked away from the official.
Yeah.
Just walked to the.
So he'll definitely get a fine for at least that.
Probably 100,000, 100 points.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that they put him on probation, make him fucking think about it a little bit. And if 2311 wants to suspend him a race, I think that's more power to them. But
Yeah, I agree, and I think there's definitely something coming. I just don't know if a suspension is warranted from NASCAR again, unless the golden rule, which because there's no precedent for Bubba here. Okay,
mm-hmm.
Kyle Busch and some of those things led up to a scaling of, hey, bro, this isn't your first time, blah 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 blah. You were fine, you were parked, you were whatever. Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, whatever. So again, if 2311 handles that internally, sits him, but otherwise I see fines, points for whatever rules he broke.
Yeah. Zach, NASCAR usually does all their penalties on Tuesdays.
Tuesdays,
yep,
correct. All penalties on track or off track are Tuesday.
Yeah, they always release them on Tuesday, so we won't know till tomorrow anyway. So yeah,
it's Kevin. That episode is out right now. I listened to the first 4 minutes of it on the way home and got 2 phone calls and missed it. So I'm actually glad we do this podcast before I listen every week, because there's times where I listen to it and I'm like, hey, I said that. And then there's times like there's times because they're smart and they're involved and they're in NASCAR and they're at the track and I go, ooh, they're smart. I didn't think of that. So I learned either way. I'm validated.
I usually listen to it after the show when I'm going to bed. I'll listen to it before I fall asleep and see how far I get. Because I don't want to listen to it and then repeat it all on here. So I actually didn't even know it was out yet. So that's cool.
Well, it popped up on, like, I left work and it was out. I think it was a little bit early this week for whatever reason. They got the show actually published out to the world. They do it this morning. They would have actually recorded, but anyway.
All right. Silly season.
Well, first we got to talk about playoffs. Your favorite thing.
We're
going to go to playoffs here, just real quick. Right now, so Joey Logano's punched into the Final Four. You got Chastain plus 18, running second. Elliott is still plus 17, still in pretty decent shape even after a shitty run. Hamlin is above the cut line. That's your Final Four right now.
Yeah.
You got Byron, Briscoe, Blaney, all within 11 points, and then you got Bell pretty much in a must-win situation. Do you see that top 4 changing at all?
Yes.
Who is in, who's out?
I'm conflicted because I could see Chastain or Bell winning at Homestead.
Okay.
And then I could see Chastain getting dumped at Martinsville if he doesn't win at Homestead. So I don't know. It gets hard to bet against Elliott and Hamlin at this point because it's that time of year, but Elliott was straight dog water yesterday, so I don't know. But he's got a Martinsville, and he has a cushion. Blaney's that sneaky cat. He'll just lurk around, probably get some points here and there. Briscoe, he's a wheelman. He could steal some Homestead stuff, but I don't think the Fords have it.
Wheelman?
Wheelman? Yeah.
Is that like a brand of a wheelbarrow? Wheelbarrow?
It's a Mahindra. It's a step below Kyle Larson.
I don't think the top 4 changes as much as I think Blaney can win. I think that's the top 4 right there. I think Chastain, he's been driving a lot smarter since pretty much since St. Louis. Kyle Busch does not win the next 3, but I do see, I could see a guy not in the playoffs winning one of the, if not both, in the next 2 races.
If that happens, Chastain gets in. I think Chastain's gonna straight up point his way through Homestead, that Trackhouse Chevy, and then just lurk around at Martinsville and hope not to die. That's his strategy.
Byron's going to be a factor at Homestead, not so much at Martinsville, I don't think.
He literally won the spring race, bud.
I know, but
he led like all the race.
Yeah,
I was there.
I mean, but no, I don't think he is this time around. I think it'll be a lot different.
Because I'm going to be there. I don't want to see that shit again.
I think Blaney's got to win. I think he's pretty much in a must-win situation now too. As good of a season he's had, just pointing his way through all this. I think Hamlin's going to be too good at Homestead and Martinsville for him to be able to jump him if it's a points thing.
So Bell's got to win a race. Okay, I think we agree. So here's what I like.
Or some shit to far away.
Yeah.
Briscoe, Byron, and Blaney are only 5 points? So take Chastain, Elliott, or Hamlin, and one of them blows up at Homestead. Okay?
Can you imagine
So
if Bubba
now
doesn't make the championship four?
somebody, right? Because hey, have we seen it? Right? Who
Mm-hmm.
knows? This is the the year of unpredictability. So that battle between Byron, Briscoe, and Blaney, all right, the Killer Bees. Ford is,
And Bell.
Stuart Haas has had some speed. Okay, they've shown
Mhm.
some speed second half of the year. I ain't putting it past Briscoe. He apparently is the golden child, and he's destined for the Final Four. Okay?
And Homestead, Miami's a real driver's track where a lot of dirt guys seem to be good there, and Briscoe's kind of one of those guys.
And it's going to be, motors are going to be used and running hard, right?
Mhm.
Martinsville, powertrains, drive lines, not powertrain, but drive line stuff,
Mhm.
right? Gears are shifting, transaxles, whatever the case may be. I'm just looking at this might not even be a racing thing. It might be a hardware thing. So then you create one of those three, not there. Then you have this Byron Briscoe Blaney deal happening, right? And
Yeah.
they're running to Martinsville and they're all a couple spots apart and somebody gets spun and chaos ensues, just like we just saw this week. I don't see it changing. It's going to be chaos. I don't think it's going to be quiet.
I think stage racing is going to be huge the next two races.
That's
You're going to
the
see
only
those
thing that can
guys.
save Bell.
Yes.
From-
Yeah.
If he flips it and somehow, if Hamlin, they have Las Vegas where Hamlin's buried and Elliott's buried, they don't get stage points, and Bell does. That's the only thing.
No, I think it's the other way around. I think all these guys, they strategize so they can get stage points, and Bell's going to flip the script and be like, no, I'm going for the win. Much like how he kind of did at Roval.
Right.
So I think he's back in that situation now, and he could just pit his ears back and go for a win. And I think that's probably the best situation for him right now, So I could see him winning at Homestead. I don't see him winning at Martinsville. If he doesn't get it done at Homestead, he's not making it. This is probably the best chance for Blaney or Briscoe to win a race. Probably Byron too, but I'll give Byron some credit since he did win Martinsville in the spring. I just think if Elliott doesn't turn it around, that kind of opens things up. I think Hamlin's going to be the strongest out of these guys. These next two races, Chastain will be right there with them. I think those two guys have no problem making it. So
I see Chastain being good at Homestead. I don't know about Martinsville so much. Not that he can't be, but
he was decent there in the spring.
Martinsville and Hamlin just go together, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
They just do. And again,
the
it's going to
only
be
thing Toyotas at short tracks have been interesting, and Hamlin finished 32nd in the spring and never really mattered. It was an interesting thing. Now I know we're way far away from that, but still.
yes.
Okay, so what do we got next here?
Silly season.
Yeah, let's
Silly
talk
season.
some silly season stuff. I don't have a thing for this, so a couple things real quick. So Stuart Haas Racing, Gene Haas was on record saying this week that basically they're in a power struggle for that 41 car where Gene Haas wants to keep Custer in there another year, but Tony Stewart really wants to put Ryan Preece in there. I thought that was interesting because they're kind of publicly showing that's not something you just go out there and say. I don't know what the motivation is there other than maybe to motivate Cole Custer, but that guy has to have a fire under his ass already if he doesn't, you know what I mean? And he's obviously not performing. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I don't think.
If I'm Cole Custer, I'm leaving. And here's why. Because
Where
I
you
don't think
going?
it's him anywhere.
I don't think it's him
it's-
either. I agree.
I don't think it's him because you look at we talked about Ty Gibbs earlier, had a low run when he was in the 45 top 10s. What has he done since then? Clearly, they're not giving him. They're trying things, and I think he's in that weird shitbox that they just try shit out on, kind of like the old Hendrick stories where with I don't know, you know where I'm going with this, where you had Gordon and Johnson in the top 10, the other guys just out there.
I don't compare it to Ty Gibbs because I think Ty Gibbs is still a rookie working shit out. He's had some bad luck.
Right. I'm just saying is he's been not even mentionable in the broadcast because he's so far back other than wrecking.
Yeah.
And I think it's just that they're not giving him all the best stuff. They're trying some things out, which is fair. Like that's what teams do. Look at Bowman and Byron been gone for 8 months, and now magically they're top 10 every week until Bowman's gone. But the 48 car with Gregson in it is top 15. So I don't think it's all Custer. We know he can drive a racing vehicle.
I think Ryan Preece would give him maybe some shots
I think Ryan
at
Preece
different
wins more
tracks.
races.
I don't think he wins any races. I don't think that 41 car wins any races.
No,
I
that's
think
true.
SHR is at this point now in over their head. They're trying to be a 4-car team like a Gibbs or Hendrick, where any 1 year 4 cars could win. They're not that anymore. You're basically putting all your eggs in 1 or 2 cars baskets. The only reason Eric Almirola is even there is because of the Smithfield money, and they begged him not to retire to come back so they could keep getting that money, so they could keep that car on track. To me, I don't care who you put in that 41 car. They should sell a charter and go down to 3, if not 2 teams, and just do it that way. They can make more money selling a charter at this point, if they could even sell it, because of everything, all the other negotiations going on. But I don't think I don't think they have. I don't give a shit if you put Custer, Priest, or even Haley Deegan in that car. It's not going to run well.
What about if it was Kyle Busch?
I think there's a reason why Kyle Busch did not pick that.
So I see this probably similar. I don't think it fucking matters. It's Custer or Priest. I don't think the performance changes because I don't think Priest is light years better than Cole Custer.
No.
But I also don't. But I don't agree that it's. I think there's a lot of Cole Custer and not a huge amount of talent. The thing that you got to remember is this car. Now, if we're talking drivers in the same team, Ty Dillon and Eric Jones, that is a difference in driver. Would you agree?
Yes.
Same car, a little bit of difference in a crew chief, good crew chief. But Eric Jones and Ty Dillon, Kevin Harvick, Cole Custer.
Sure.
It's the same car. They're all buying the parts. Now, there are some setups, but this isn't new.
Teams,
this
too.
isn't new. That team has underperformed all year, but Kevin Harvick has been good the last half of the season. Second half of the season. Would you agree?
Yeah.
They
Briscoe's
figured some
been
things
good, too.
out.
Yeah.
They figured some things out. Cole Custer has gotten not any better.
No. But that could
Cole
also be the
Custer is
team
not-
around him, too. They might not have the personnel either.
Cole Custer's not very good.
No,
Ryan
he's not.
Preece will not be much better.
No.
There are not any Kevin Harvick's waiting to jump into that 41. That is the problem. It's not Cole Custer or Ryan Preece. No offense to them, because I'm not a race car driver and I'm trash. So I'm like sitting here like I'm like better than no. Next Kevin Harvick isn't walking around the corner next year for that 41 car. That 41 car is a top 15 to top 18 car. Cole Custer is a top 30 driver.
Okay.
The car's better than Cole Custer. Ryan Preece might make it a little bit better, but Ryan Preece is not Eric Jones. He's not Kevin Harvick. They're just not like that. The improvement you will not see a dramatic improvement with Ryan Preece.
No, you won't. I don't think you will.
If Kyle Busch got in that car would be a better car. Period.
But how
same
good?
things.
Harvick.
Top 12 car.
I don't.
Top 15 car.
Maybe because maybe they shift things around.
That's what I'm saying. He'd be Harvick good because I think he'd have a crew chief that knows him. They would spend whatever it took to make sure he was comfortable.
I do think
Cole Custer's just not very good, guys.
And
yeah, no, I agree. I just think SHR is in over their head at this point.
They don't have drivers.
They don't have drivers for sure, because there's the other thing. They're pretty confident that Harvick's not returning after next season.
Correct.
Whether he retires or he just doesn't come back, he's not coming
barely
back.
wanted to come back for this. And I'm
Eric
sure he
Almirola
regrets
is
it.
probably going to be gone after next year. Even though, didn't he sign a multi-year contract?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
But, who knows if he's still around. So now you got Chase Briscoe and 3 open seats probably.
Yep.
Even 2.
Where's the line of drivers?
Where's the drivers that you're going to put in it? Where's the money? Because they're self-funding half their cars. You know what I mean? Like, even I know Briscoe has some sponsorship, but that 41 car is either a Ford or a Haas deal every week.
Yeah, Briscoe's going to be the flagship driver of that deal. I think Briscoe is a talented driver. Briscoe's a guy to me. He's a top 10, 12 talent in the sport. In my opinion, Chase Briscoe is that guy. Now, I will say that team and that car has been up and down, but he's shown some speed. He's top 8 playoff guy, right? Like he's not whatever. But Kevin Harvick retires, you're going to have Chase Briscoe as the leader of that organization. But where are the drivers coming from?
Yeah.
If Chris Buescher leaves Roush. I don't think he's going to.
No.
But Chris Buescher is a guy who will be very sought after, and I think he actually resigned, so that's not going to be a thing.
So my thought would be
What-
this though.
who next?
Speaking of that, if you're a Ford driver or a driver looking to go to Ford, do you go to RFK or do you go to SHR right now?
I think you
SHR,
SHR, but
yeah, because there's not an open seat at RFK.
Well, say they're expanding. I don't think BK's over
Mm-hmm.
there just doing a 2-car deal for his whole career. Like, maybe not yet, but I think that's something. That's another Ford team that's kind of looking and has the brighter future. I think at this point, Tony Stewart's trashing NASCAR. Keselowski's got a Penske mindset to it. It might be. It kind of depends on what stage. If you're a guy that wants to go win now, if you're Kyle Busch-esque next year, and yeah, SHR. But if you're Ryan Preece, I don't know. Why don't you take your shot at RFK if you can get there, or a guy like that? Or I mean, how long is Hendrick gonna put up with Bowman underperforming in the 48? I don't know. Like, if there's something to think about here. It used to be SHR or not Ford. There's at least RFK is at least entering that chat now.
well,
And
how
Penske.
long is Harrison
Well,
Burton?
Penske's up here.
yeah,
What's Harrison Burton's status?
he's basically the fourth Penske car, because that was something I was thinking about. Like, Penske could be a factor in maybe expanding to 4 cars, because they got 3 really good drivers for a long time. And
If you're Harrison Burton, yeah, because Joe Logano's not even that old. He looks kind of
No.
old, but he's not that old.
no,
Yeah, but
Um,
Harrison Burton isn't a Penske car, because if that was really the case,
they're
Matty D
Penske affiliated.
should still be in that car.
No,
No,
I think
Yes.
Matty D fell off.
Matty D was
Matty
only
D
there
felt-
because Paul Menard wanted him.
Yeah, Matty D didn't fall off. I shouldn't say that. He fell out of favor. He really burned a lot of bridges, is what the rumor is. That's
Right.
why he's not in a NASCAR Cup ride. That's why he's not even in an Xfinity ride.
I'm with you, but I'm saying like Wood Brothers here. Okay, we know what they are. They don't keep people for long, and they
Right,
haven't
because they're
They
Penske
don't know.
guys.
Yep.
So does Harrison Burton become a free agent and he ends up in an SHR car? Because I think that would be an improvement.
Or be a 4th Penske driver.
Or
I mean,
go to
could be,
RFK.
right? I'm just saying, like, as far as Ford drivers that are out there,
That's
you know,
really
I don't think Riley Herbst gets an opportunity.
Mhm.
But what I could see is like, you know, does Trevor Bayne get an opportunity?
Maybe.
You know, that 18 car, it's shown speed. I mean, they haven't put all the races together down there when he's shown up, but you know, even Ty Dillon's good in the 18, so I guess that really doesn't matter. But you know, there's some young guys who aren't Ford right now, but still could be. You know, Samuel
right.
Smith. You know, there's some young guys, but I don't think they're ready next year. So
Right, there's
SHR has
options there.
decisions to make for sure.
Haley Deegan is somebody that needs to be talked about more. She just, I know Kevin was in the chat saying, hey, how about Haley? She finished 13th in her first ever Xfinity race
She needs
in an SHR affiliated car. Obviously, they're going to want to
find
bring.
a way
Yeah,
to
not
run
next
full
year.
time. She
Yeah.
needs to run full time Xfinity next year. That's what
Yeah.
she needs to do.
Yes. Get that seat time and then Cup the season after.
No,
They're
No.
going to have to if they lose 3 drivers. They're going to
well,
have
they
to.
might, but she
Yeah.
shouldn't do that. She
Yeah, but
should
is there
not do
really
that.
a time to learn in
No, that's
Xfinity
true.
after multiple truck
Yeah.
seasons? Do you
Yeah.
learn much more about being a Cup driver? You don't unless you're a
No.
Cup driver.
No, but I think
And the
she's
cars
going
are
to
so
learn more in
different.
Xfinity than trucks.
I-
That's what I was saying.
I think you give her a season in Xfinity and move her up to Cup the season after. I think that's.
I don't disagree. I'm not really surprised she did well, to be honest. If we're going to get
No,
into
me
this,
neither.
Yeah,
No.
she
Just
can
hot
drive.
summer. She can drive, and I think the trucks almost get too locked down, too much racing. There's a lot less respect. They race so close to each other. It's easy to get knocked out of the way, you know, whatever. In the Xfinity series, to me, probably takes a more talented driver than a truck because they're tire wear, they're hard to handle, they're higher horsepower, they're lower downforce.
Right.
I'm
Takes more
thrilled
driver.
by- I'm thrilled by what I saw and what her results were. Does she need more seat time in it? Yeah, for sure. But there's always been a big gap between Xfinity and Cup.
Mhm.
But at least the cars were like, hey, high
Right.
horsepower, low downforce, or side bite, whatever it was. Now you're going to have an Xfinity car, which should be a Cup car, and you have a Cup car that drives like a truck but faster. What are you going to learn in Xfinity other than some racecraft and how to get through a race and pit
Yeah.
stops? And
And I
Be on the
think
big
that's
stage.
that's the
Races.
big thing I think she needs is learning that racecraft because she doesn't get in the truck series. There, it's just
Yeah, it's a shit
plows
show.
down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yee.
Here's somebody
There's
that somebody else to throw a name out there to maybe go to SHR would be Zane Smith.
If he
That
doesn't, if he goes to Ford, I don't
Yeah.
think I think he gets gobbled up somewhere in the Chevy Toyota family
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know if Ford has the money and capability and reputation right
They
now.
gotta
get him.
try everything they can to
They-
keep
they
him.
need-
They
that's
have
their-
no
that
other
is their
drivers.
guy.
Those two, Deegan, Zane Smith. I mean,
John
you
Hunter.
don't even. John Hunter's more with Toyota now, I think.
Yeah, but he'll
And-
trade back and forth.
And who's in that 38 Cup car? Has done a good job.
Gillen.
Todd Gilliland?
Todd. Okay, they're
That's a
the
good
names
one.
to
I like
me.
that.
They're the names to me that could be people in. Now I don't know about John Hunter with the Toyota thing and how that looks, but where's he going to go?
Well, John Hunter is
Toyota
the one
teams
that
just-
left Ford and front row to go to that Toyota thing. So he,
Yeah, but it's front row to get an opportunity to be like, hey, look, I can
Right.
drive a race car.
Well, there was a
Right.
big. The rumor
Some of these people
was if Kurt Busch did retire that and they didn't do the Tyler Reddick thing, that John Hunter would go in that car.
Right.
You got to think of something else. Truex could retire after next year as well.
And KBM, and if Ty Gibbs moves up, there's a Toyota Xfinity ride that is pretty nice.
Well, that's Sammy Smith. They're talking about, this kid coming up. There's some other kids in the Toyota family
Yeah, but if you get
there
John
to get
Hunter
into
experience-
Xfinity. I right now, I think it's easy for Toyota to fill Xfinity rides.
Right,
but
but I
not
think if
up.
you're Toyota, you put because you lost Brandon Jones too, so you have 2 open Xfinity rides. You have John Hunter. You don't have a truck team for him. He's probably the most ready for an Xfinity championship. If that's what you're going for.
He
Not
was
to
already a
worry.
Cup driver, so
Right. So send him in there and then use those other rides for these Sammy Smiths and those other guys.
But how long does John Hunter wait around to get an opportunity back in Cup in Toyota if Ford
think-
comes calling?
I think
I
I think he knows if he gets that number 19 car after next season,
He's
I think
going
he
to win
would.
races.
I agree with you.
I think next year, if they give him Xfinity ride, he'll wait 1 year to get that 19
For
car.
sure. Yep.
And it would be a genius business decision that he's ever made.
Yes.
Leaving front Ford to go to KBM and rerun the ladder
Mhm.
in the most genius way possible.
Sure, that's why he did
As
it.
long as he capitalizes on it.
Right. He left Cup to go get a full-time Xfinity ride with a good team to show, hey, I can race a race car. Because I don't think he was ever going to get to show his full potential in that 38 or 34,
No.
whatever the hell he was in.
Right. Just
Even though he
flash
did
about
a pretty good job in it. And that's what you're seeing with Gilliland. I've seen Gilliland. There's been some really good, he's overachieved and done a great job this year at times,
Mhm.
making a name for himself. And now that front row team's getting better too. So.
Right, because McDowell's tripled his career top 10s.
Right.
Mhm. Do you think
And-
McDowell gets a shot at a bigger team?
No, McDowell's on the downside. He's there. He's in that role now where it's like, hey, I'm here to teach. He's the Kurt Busch. He's on
Yeah.
the backside of it.
I mean, I hate
He's
it that,
comfortable
though,
there.
but- right.
I think he's comfortable. I think he's kind of like, look at those guys, David Reagan and David Gillen. They're like, I can see McDowell moving into that kind of role with that team once he's done driving.
Sure.
You are outside your damn mind. Michael McDowell's comfortable at front row motorsports. Is that what you just said?
Yes.
So if Stuart
He's
Haas
been
came
there
calling
8 years.
and said-
I was gonna say if
Stuart Haas came calling and said, "Hey, here's the 41. We got it sponsored. You want to come drive a Stuart Haas race
He's
car?"
outrunning the
You
41.
go. I'm comfortable in the Love's 34.
He's outrunning.
he would also
Right.
bring the Love sponsorship, so I would not doubt if
But I'm
Stuart
just-
Haas
I'm
would
just
try to
saying-
poach him.
Right, I'm just saying. I just think at stage of his career,
But he's like,
I don't know if he gets an opportunity. And I hate that. I hate to say that, but I just don't know because right now the sponsor, this is going younger, cheaper, bring sponsorship, fun, exciting, grow.
McDowell brings the sponsorship, so I think that's the whole reason why he's still in Cup, to be honest, and he's making the
Probably.
most of it right now.
He is.
And that's what I was kind of saying with SHR before. Like, there's a reason why that 41 car isn't as good. Like, the better the sponsor, the better the car. That
Sure.
They definitely put the money from the sponsor in that car instead of spreading it out through the team. I definitely think there's a correlation there.
that worked out for GoDaddy. But yeah,
I mean, yeah, Gene Haas has run out of money.
Yeah, for
probably.
sure.
probably.
Well,
all
and
those
that- and
cars
that's kinda-
Nick's
and that's-
wrecking over.
Formula One says otherwise.
That's another reason too why I'm saying, like, Tony Stewart's all upset, and it's typical Tony Stewart bullshit. Oh, I fucking hate NASCAR. I hate all this. I'm gonna go do something else. Goes
Man,
does
my
something
new wife
else, but
drives
stays
drag
there.
car. I like drag cars.
Yeah. My wife. Whatever. My wife. But
LA.
but I don't know. I think it would be wise with other teams trying to come in. Cut it down to a 3-car team, man. You might as well get some money for that charter while the charter still is available, and
No,
Yeah.
you can't sell a charter right now. It's about to be worth way more if they can negotiate anything.
I mean, it's already worth like 20 million. So
That's nothing for
30
what they
million.
spend.
yeah,
That's nothing. You hold on to your damn charters. Why do you think Dale Jr.
yeah,
hasn't
but
bought a charter?
He actually talked about it last week. He's
it
telling you out. It's starting to
Price
creep.
keeps
Says
going
at
up and up
30.
and up.
It keeps
Yeah.
going at $30. You missed the window. You had to get in there early or do what Colleague did and go in before you're ready. But you should
Mhm.
got it at quarter of the price what it is now.
He needed to buy it 2 years ago and lease it out until he was ready to run a team. But you don't know.
Yeah, right. That's just kind of
Yep.
buying stock in Netflix. Bad luck. We're Bed Bath & Beyond. Either way. So, Kurt Busch.
Yeah, Kurt Busch, R.I.P. You know, good career. Sad to see him go the way he did. Kind of glad to say, I don't want to say glad to say, but a privilege to say that we saw his last laps, unfortunately, when in person. What could have been for him, because I mean, I think he could have been a championship contender the way he was running in that car.
Yeah, considering
Yeah.
Bubba's running top 10, Kurt's experience, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He
very much
probably would.
so.
I think he could have got another win or two for sure, and
He
that's a
would've
shame.
weaseled right into that championship four. That'd have been epic. I would
So
love that.
that sucks, but they end up buying Tyler Reddick's contract out a year early. He will drive that 45 car next year. So pretty much something we all saw coming. It was just a matter of dotting the I's and crossing the T's and making the money match. So sucks for Kurt though, but I think he'll find something and land on his feet just fine. He's already talking to Fox Sports, which I think him and Clint Boyer would probably be pretty good. A little dry. Kurt's a little dry, but he's that solid driver.
He's
and
that guy that would just like slide it in there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
He would be
total package, Jay-Z.
Just the tip.
And Clint would feed off it. It wouldn't be like he wouldn't get overexcited, kind of like Gordon used to do, where like him and Boyer just like too much, and Mike Joy's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It would be like someone to kind of offset that. I think that would work out nice.
Yeah, super happy for Kurt. He was able to control his destiny a little bit, even though he was kind of put in a spot that he couldn't control his own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy he's at a stage in his life and career that he doesn't have to feel pressure to get back in a race car if he doesn't need to. Talk to somebody about that today. You know, you got to, you think about, you hear these stories about, these guys back in the day that knew they were concussed and didn't know either. There's a lot of things they didn't know about it, how serious it was, what it was doing, but they knew they should have been in the race car. But there's so much pressure to perform and get back in that car, or you lose your ride.
Yep.
That I'm happy he's in a position that he can say, "Hey, I'm not right. This isn't fair to the team. This isn't fair to my sponsors. I know I'm not right." So I guarantee you there are drivers in the series, all three series, that know they're not right and still get in that car because of the pressure to perform, because they know that if they're not in the car and the sponsors has a problem, they're out. Period.
Right.
Like, period. Dot. End of story. Now, Alex Bowman, do you think he's made enough money that he could sit out a few races and say, my health is more important? I'm glad these guys are in a position, either their job, their life, their income, that they can do this.
Their ego too, to walk
Their
away from
ego,
it.
right? This is a different era, and there aren't a lot of guys like Justin Haley, right? Don't know anything about the kid, but if he feels like his ride is up in jeopardy, do you think he's going to tell anyone that he's not feeling right? No, and it's not right.
Because he will lose his ride.
Yeah,
that part hasn't gone away.
Right, and it's a shame, right? Because
right.
I'm glad Kurt was in a position to be able to control his own destiny and say, I'm not right. This is the time for me to step away. Because the worst thing ever would be a guy who isn't financially whatever in his career and admits it, and then job's gone, right? The NFL, you see it all the time. Guy loses job because of injury, he's out of the league because he got hurt. There's a 100% chance of injury in the NFL. Now, this isn't to that scale, but that's a real thing over the years. So I'm happy that he was able to take the time off and control his own destiny in the way he went out. He didn't have to feel pressured or underperform with an injury, and then people wonder why he didn't do it. Right.
Something like a Ryan Newman. We knew he wasn't right ever since his Daytona crash. I mean, the car was bad, but he also was just not even in the conversation. So I guess it also to piggyback on what you said, was tip of the cap to Denny Hamlin and that whole group over there for reassuring that this is Denny's ride, or it's Kurt's ride if he wants it. I think that makes it easier for Kurt to make that decision for his own. It's like they want him to be involved even beyond his racing days. I think that helps, and I think that's good. I think he's an asset to any organization. Like, he'd be VP of competition any day. I think that'd be a useful something, right?
Mhm.
So, sucks for him, sucks for everyone. But I mean, he was gonna leave soon enough anyway. So at least he's taking care of himself.
Yeah, for sure. Sad to see him go, but it's I think it's in the best way possible. So
Yeah.
good for him. Let's do drink it or dump it for NASCAR. Anybody want to go first?
Wow,
Go ahead.
thought I'd been prepared. Go ahead.
I'll go.
I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay.
We suck at this game.
I'm gonna go first. My drink it goes to Chase Briscoe. He's definitely proven some people wrong here, and I think that team is really starting to come along, and it's nice to see him running up front and showing that he's worthy of being up there with these top guys. Maybe not necessarily competing for a championship, but at least being in the conversation. So it's good to see another young guy come into the picture. Dump it. I'm gonna go for Ryan Blaney. I just feel so gutted for that guy, man. Like, just can't catch. He's had a good season, but he just can't catch a break where he could win a race or control his own destiny, really, at this point. So dump it out for him.
Right. Me, drink it. Josh Berry locking himself in the championship 4. Love it for Josh Berry on the Xfinity side. Bouncing off the wall, driving the wheels off it. I'm here for it. If Josh Berry wins this whole thing, everything's right in the world. Playoffs or not, talented driver that gets a shot.
Even though he wasn't the best driver all year?
He was like 4th, so good enough under your Mickey Mouse system.
It's funny how that plays out. Go ahead.
It's not, but
Uh-huh.
we'll save that.
Uh-huh.
Dump it. Fucking Chargers. I'm gonna dump it on them.
Are they winning?
No, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not. You gotta go Bubba. Like, just not smart. Just a lot of not smart decisions were made there.
Dump it on Bubba like he dumped water on Alex Bowman that one time.
Wow, you're so clever, bud. Jeremy, go ahead.
Drink it to Haley Deegan. It is great for the sport. It is great for the series. It is great for so many things. The Yahoo program is it Yahoo or no Bush? I'm sorry. And is Yahoo female driven? The sponsorships for females?
Toyota. They're Toyota.
Okay, the Toyota thing. But I think like Bush Light or Bush was doing some things with females in racing.
Yeah. Bush was, yep.
It's outstanding. And shout out to Haley, man. She I feel like she just kind of does it right. Like it's not like in your face about it. She's trying to learn. She's growing. She's doing a good job. So, I think that we get to watch that journey a little closer with door bumper clear and her, her spotter being out there and kind of like watching her grow. And they talked about it. So that was awesome. So drink it for that and for NASCAR, and then dump it for NASCAR all at the same time with the Bubba thing this weekend. With the shit show of the car, I had a coworker today go, man, what happened to NASCAR? Is that still going on? Is that a thing? Right? And this guy's in his mid-20s. It speaks to a huge problem with NASCAR. So I think that dump at NASCAR for going so far away from the grassroots. He's like, he goes, I remember growing up and, my dad and that generation, everybody wore NASCAR hats. I'd never see anybody wearing NASCAR or anything these days. And I said, when I got into it a little bit and I started thinking about it, it is so far gone from what it used to be when I grew up. And, my parents' generation, the drivers, they related to those drivers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm 40. I don't relate to many of those drivers in any way. Like, I just don't, other than families maybe. So NASCAR went so far away from their base and their grassroots and whatever, and they're trying to get back to it. And I hope it's not too late. And I said, do you know why there's a huge fan base for F1 right now in 18 to 35? The Netflix show.
Yeah.
Do you think those kids relate to any F1 drivers?
Absolutely not.
Hell no.
No.
They're the elite of the elite, right?
Yeah. They're trying
money
to build.
spent.
Yeah.
They race once or twice in the US a year, right? They don't relate. These kids don't relate at all, but it's Netflix. The Netflix show has brought people in that age group, and NASCAR has not done a thing to do it.
Well,
So
and that's why they're doing all the radical shit that they're trying to do in order to try to get some
right.
of that. And that's why they're going away from their core fan base, so I can't really blame them. So
dump it for NASCAR all at the same time and hope it's not too late.
No, I don't think it is. I think they're fine. I think you know, for me, it's a double-edged sword with staying with your core fan base, because that core fan base is going to die out, like quite literally. And you can't get their money when they're in the grave. Sorry to say it. You know what I mean? So you got to stay current. You got to, if your product isn't selling to a new generation, you got to change it up to sell to a new generation. And that's what they're doing. What, love it or hate it, that's kind of what the business is. So,
yeah.
So I get it. It's frustrating, but at the same time, I understand why they do it. So I don't think all the stuff that they're doing is completely terrible. I do think, some of it's stuff that needed to be done to the series, and some of it just, is just completely, they're throwing darts at the wall, sometimes.
Yeah. Griffey just mentioned up there, how long before NASCAR goes to a private streaming service? I think it would be the death of them. I can't see any reason that they would do that if they do want to survive, because right now it's even tough where people would be like, it's on cable and they don't have cable, right?
Yes.
It's on Fox Business.
Yes.
I think that was a problem to begin with. And I think that streaming is going to be a thing, but a lot of people have streaming already.
Yeah. Amazon
Prime, right? The NFL. The NFL is way bigger than NASCAR, but NASCAR is a big industry. It is the top U.S. auto racing in our country. It's the top motorsport in our country. So do they sell the rights to a broadcast? But it should be concurrent with something. That's why you see like Peacock, right? So there's still a fan base of people who do not stream. And that's an older fan base, and it's cable, it's network TV. It has to be there. Do I see that someday? Yeah, I do, but I don't think it's ready for it yet. No, as the primary of a race.
Yeah,
no.
I think if they do, they got to go to a bigger one. Like a lot of people thought about Flow Racing because they're partnering up with some of their grassroots series, but they got to go to something bigger. They got to go something like Amazon Prime, something that's more
accessible, not for a one race
accessible thing. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think it would be nice if they had their own streaming service. That way, if you want all NASCAR content, if you're a fan and you want all NASCAR content all the time, you just have to get that. You don't have to get this other shit. But they need to do both. They can't just do one or the other. And not until things progress more into a more niche.
You want NASCAR to reach more people, not less.
Exactly.
You just can't do it. I mean,
right.
They want to reach more people, not less, and they've already done a good job at reaching less. So, yeah.
Yep. I agree. So, all right. Well, we're going to take a break here. We're going to go into the Jeremy Zarfos photo of the week. He got some fire this week at Lincoln on Saturday. Was this Cam Smith in the 39?
No, that is Troy Wagaman Jr.
What? I didn't know that.
There were two 39s this week. There were a car with a black body and a car with a white body, and that is Troy Wagaman Jr. in time trials.
Oh, that's sick.
So Cam Smith was in the other car, and actually on my website I have a picture of them lined up for the heat race, like third and fifth or first and third. I forget where they were lined up. They were nose to tail, and I got a picture of them both on track together. It was a pretty cool little picture. But that is Troy. That is Troy. So see the blue fire suit? The blue arm?
There he is.
That is Troy Wagaman Jr. coming off of 2. That car was hooked up off the bottom, and it was hooked up off the top, and he had really good speed in the heat race. It was fun to watch these cars come off 2 in the heat because it was gripped up.
That's good to see. I didn't know that was Troy Wagaman. I didn't get a chance really to watch any of the race, so that's pretty cool. So we're going to talk about that and some Outlaw stuff, so preview the National Open this upcoming weekend, and a little bit of iRacing stuff. So we'll be right back.
Tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boys over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
All right, we're back. Back to talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the dirt weekend in PA. Season's really winding to a close now. Last 410 race at Port Royal of the year, Friday night, as it was the Labor Day makeup in support of the modified race that was going on there all weekend. Justin Whittle finally gets it done at Port Royal. He's been running really strong there the last half of the season. Some really surprising runs by him. It's good to see him get a win there. Almost didn't happen. There was the wreck on the backstretch that he narrowly avoided. So good for Justin Whittle. It's good to see him. He was pretty emotional in victory lane, it seemed like, and he's been really ramping up to that here, and maybe will be a force to be reckoned with next year.
Yeah, that was awesome. He's had some great races this season. He had some tough luck. He almost won it. That wreck that he avoided on the backstretch was some of the wildest shit I've seen from a leader having to avoid something in a long time. Like, you've seen the ones where guys wrecked up high and you got to slide up between the wall and a car, or you got to pitch it side. I mean, he was weaving in and out of traffic like a motorcycle rider on the highway.
It was like a chicane. It was like a chicane in a sprint car.
In a sprint car on dirt. It was wild shit. And I was like, I watched it back a few times and I couldn't believe it. So, Austin Bishop tried to avoid it, couldn't. He did the same. He got there just before Whittle got there and couldn't avoid it, which created more of an issue for Whittle. Where do I go? Man, that was cool, and it was cool to see him. He did a great job. That thing was ripping, so I was happy for sure to see that.
Yep. Yeah, last 410 race of the year for Port Royal. It was cool for them to make it the Labor Day Classic makeup. They only got about 20 cars though on a Friday night, so there was like 100 and some cars modifieds and the 602 crates. They had a really good car count with the modified, so they didn't need 30 410 cars there, and they still put on a good race. So good for Justin Whittle.
Griffey, shout out. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it, man. I had a great time shooting it this weekend. Lincoln, I tried some new stuff at night and thrilled with some of the results I got. Being a rookie at this stuff still, man, I'm learning every weekend some new things and trying things out, and just experimenting and get to have a blast shooting these cars that I love, that I'm already a fan of, and I get to now it's not an opportunity. It's literally like I created it for myself, and bought the equipment, spending the time, and just documenting these cars that I love so much, man. I appreciate the shout out, dude.
So tell us a little bit about Lincoln. Danny Dietrich wins. Stop it. I mean, we're fighting over putting the caption up there.
I'm not used to having the controls when you're here.
Dietrich wins in a brand new wing, it looked like.
Titan wing, apparently.
A what?
Hammaker, Titan is the manufacturer. Titan wing. So Hammaker in 358 Division 1. No, Doug Hammaker won the 358 feature, and he had a Titan wing on, and he talked about Danny and Victor Lane. Danny had one on as well. Just pretty plain standard wing. So, in Grand Lincoln fashion, they start early and still end, at 11 o'clock at night. They figured out a way, but this wasn't their doing. Had some red flags. We had a pretty serious situation with Billy Heltz Jr. He had to get airlifted out. Prayers to him in recovery, and hope he's doing all right. I insensitive if I didn't miss some news. I didn't hear anything, but Lifeline came in and they had a pretty long delay there. But a long night, but didn't get too cold until the very, very end. But man, that track was elbows up for sure. There were some big wrecks. Brandon Raymer went for a hell of a ride, lost an entire wheel. The fuel tank came off of it, was laying on the track. He got out, thankfully, was safe, but the cushion in 3 and 4 was gnarly, to say the least. It wasn't even like, I've seen bigger cushions at Lincoln where it was like more to the wall, but it was on the wall. I think it was long guys into a false sense of security. I talked to Tim Walkman after the feature, and I got a picture of him on the right rear, left front up. Like he said, oh, that was the last lap. He ran down there and moved down. So he didn't want to destroy his car, but I think Riley Emig, I think it got like I said, Brandon Raymer, and it got another one too. But it made those guys sure.
Your mic just cut out.
Your mic died.
No.
You killed it.
Hello.
There you go.
Oh.
Don't know what just happened, but
I think you caught the cushion in 3 and 4.
Danny ran Buddy Kofoid down and restart and got by him. And Buddy's good at Lincoln, has won races at Lincoln. He has speed, and he passed him. Under green flag, no lap traffic, went by him and drove away. Car was fast. Danny did everything he was supposed to do, and I hate to say it, but credit him, man. He did a great job. You don't see too many guys, fast cars pass fast cars under green flag at Lincoln and without lap traffic. So,
Danny's not always good at Lincoln. You know what I mean? It's, he gets a handful of wins there every year, and he doesn't have to race there every week. So, not really surprising to see him win. Wouldn't surprise me for Lincoln to add another rail after Didi was on top of it this year on the front stretch, almost ending up in the stands. Yeah, maybe.
It's a unique situation there.
Yeah,
that was wild.
Lincoln tore down the grandstands in turn 1 that were still
the pit
old
grandstands.
No, not the pit ones.
No.
The other ones that extended off the concrete steps, that set of stands, they were gone. They were torn down, so I don't know what they're doing in the off season there as far as upgrades or whatever. But they were moved into the pit area. They were just sitting along the fence in the pits. That was all with yellow tape around it. So I don't know if they're putting more concrete in or just upgrading or what they're doing there, or leveling that out. I don't know. That was a pretty big hill there, or whatever. But those stands were all moved. I walked by, and it was just weird, like wait, there's all this open area here. It was strange looking, but yeah, typical Lincoln stuff. 358 feature was really good. Justin Foster led all but the last few laps, and he was probably going to win that race if the yellow didn't come out. And but Doug Hammaker gets by him, wins that. That car was Hammaker was really, really fast. I have a good picture of him literally lifting the right front tire off the ground in a 358 down the backstretch, and like not a little bit. Like that thing was digging. But shout out to Justin Foster. He had a rough season. Had a really, really good run there. So it was good to see him finish out the season with a good run for sure. That wraps up the Lincoln season.
Yeah, Lincoln's
pretty good season, honestly. Okay. Looking for an update here. Looks like I may have gotten one. Sorry, I want to read this. Okay. Lincoln did actually post one. He's still Billy Heltzel is in the hospital with a concussion, waiting on further consultation. Good spirits, but does not remember the accident. So, it was a really weird one, to be honest with you. It was one of the least vicious crashes I've ever seen for someone to end up having to get airlifted out. And I haven't seen all the years I've been going to the races. I have not seen many people get airlifted out of a racetrack. And I'll be honest, we at first when it first happened, they brought the stretcher out. They had the ambulance out there, and someone sent me I watched the accident, and then I got a video of it, and it looked just as tame. Like, I don't want to say there's ever an accident that's tame in a sprint car, but we've all seen enough sprint car races to know, and we were all kind of confused by it for sure. So safety equipment, but he got his bell rung. Thankfully, a concussion. Hopefully, with concussions, recovery of some sort. Looks like he's going to be, going to make it through this. But we were all pretty concerned. Still was until that. So thank you, Travis, for the update, man. That's good news. You see a guy get airlifted out of a sprint car, and they said he was in and out of consciousness during that time. So
that's a hell of a hit.
You certainly get worried. But shout out to that guy, Billy, for pulling through there. Whatever's going on.
Yeah, hopefully he pulls in, makes a full recovery here shortly. Yeah, Lincoln's done for the year. I'm kind of excited to see what some of these tracks do in the off season. Specifically Lincoln and Port Royal, they always seem to do some type of upgrade. It sounds like Lincoln's already started, so that's always something to look forward to the next year to see what tweaks they have done to the track. They're always improving, so yeah, we'll see. Let's get into World of Outlaws. 2 races this week for the Outlaws. David Gravel wins the final race at I-80 Speedway. And James McFadden does a shoey at Lakeside, finally gets a win this year and drinks a beer out of his shoe. In typical Aussie fashion.
Aussies are weird.
I like
Confirmed.
Aussie. Confirmed, but it's awesome. It's something I would do. I think the real story here, and I don't even know if it's really a story, is David Gravel has cut this points lead down to 54 points. Brad Sweet, Gravel's been coming on. He's been winning racing, been running really well. Brad Sweet, I mean, it's opening up the possibility because you're going into National Open where Brad Sweet doesn't really run that great at Williams Grove. David Gravel runs great there. He can go, I hate to say Gravel could go win this, but he can, and Sweet could go finish something like 14th, and now you're looking at like a 20, 30-point gap going into the final 3 races of the year. I mean, it's kind of making it a story, but I still think the points gap is too big the way the points are set up in World of Outlaws because it's only a 2-point difference per position. So you really need Sweet to have some bad luck, and that's just not something Brad Sweet has done. He doesn't DNF. He's up there in the top 10 almost every race, except for maybe like a place like Williams Grove. I don't know. Gravel the National Open will kind of show that. If that does happen, where Sweet maybe finishes 15th, Gravel wins the damn thing, cuts that to 20, 30 points, it could be a story. But if Sweet finishes like 5th, 6th, then it's pretty much a wrap.
We won a race there this year, right?
Who?
Like a couple months ago, Brad Sweet.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the first time he's
an outlaw race this season.
But historically, he's not that great there. That's one of the tracks that he just doesn't do well on. He's usually not a factor.
You know what would make this more exciting?
Playoffs?
Don't play it.
Playoffs would make this much more exciting.
There it is.
I don't want to see playoffs. I do. I do think the Outlaws need to tweak their point system a little bit. Make getting a podium matter more. You're only getting 2 points. Like, if you finish fifth and you win, like if you win and Brad Sweet finishes fifth, it's only a 10-point difference. Like, make winning mean a little bit more. Maybe give them an extra 10 bonus points, 5 for second, 3 for third. Make it mean a little bit something more. You know, there's guys that have won twice as much than Brad Sweet this year, and nothing against Sweet because Sweet is so consistent and he still gets his W's. But you know
who doesn't care about all that is Brent Marks, who's won almost $700,000 this year from the Outlaws.
We're not talking about money here, though. We're talking about a points championship.
$75,000 to win, buddy.
Right. So before we dive into that, I agree. I think Gravel's making it interesting. He's going to need some things to fall his way to make it more interesting for a final night at World Finals type duel. But I think the opportunity is there. You're going to have probably 40 cars, 38 cars. I don't know how many cars we'll probably go into more in the National Open segment, but I don't know how many cars, but you're going to have a decent clip of cars there. This opportunity, depending on how your night starts out, World Finals is not going to be any different. It's not like you're running Lakeside where there's probably only 15 competitive cars. The Outlaw guys and Brian Brown, mostly. So
Chio Selzy was there too.
Okay.
I-80 had a lot of drivers there because it was the last race. Like,
but how many of those guys are Outlaw level or even top half PA posse level?
Sure, it's not posse.
Right.
I know that.
Right. It's like,
but it's more than probably like when they go out to fucking
California.
Yeah. No, not even that. Like when they go to fucking North Dakota. You know what I mean? When they go to North Dakota and they get 23 cars, they don't even have enough for a B main because there's nobody out there that fucking runs. You know what I mean?
No, I'm with you. It's just opportunity. You're going to have anywhere from 40 to 50 of the best sprint cars in the country over the next 3 races. Opportunity, if Brad Sweet has a bad time trial run, has to fight through, it's a lot harder for him to make that gap up. But on the same end, it's a lot harder for Gravel to win, and vice versa. Come here on Saturday, if Brad Sweet goes out and wins, it's a wrap.
Pretty much.
For me, I'm quitting. I'm quitting the show.
No, I mean it was. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, it was like an 80, 90 point deficit, and Gravel has clawed his way back in. It was looking like Macedo there maybe 2 months ago was going to be the guy, and then he's been up and down. Gravel's really kind of come into his own, you know, back into the old Gravel self that we kind of expect from him. He's been good all year, don't get me wrong. It's just he wasn't winning races at the clip that we'd expect him to. Now he is. So, I don't know. It's making it a little bit interesting, but it's still Brad Sweet's to lose at this point. All he has to do is go out there, do what he does, just get top 10s, and he'll be fine.
Yep. Real quick, go back just a couple minutes here. Facebook user, by the way, is Travis Garner, Chalk Guy at Lincoln.
Chalk Guy.
Just kind of going over his experience a little bit there with Billy Heltzel, and he was on the scene and on the scene quick. By the way, those guys, man, they got to stretch out.
They do
really
awesome.
well. The hamstrings. I was when Brandon Kramer wrecked, I was in 3 and 4 there in the middle, and forgive me for his name. He works in 3 and 4. He was on scene with the Williams Grove vintage car wreck.
Oh, Wes.
Wes, yeah,
Wes Gingrich, I think it is. Yeah.
Sorry, shame on me.
Wes is a
literal 40-yard sprint over there toward basically Travis's area. To get to Brandon during that thing, man. And so those guys are impressive for sure. So shout out to Safety Crews doing what they do, man. They don't get the recognition they should. And I know sadly throughout the year they get the recognition when they're doing a job that nobody wants to have to be done.
Right.
Like we'd rather not know those guys are there, but I'm surely thankful they are for sure. But yeah, man, Outlaws coming down to it here. It's kind of cool that the National Open, such a big event, is so close to the World Finals. There's always that gap between 3-week gap. Now it's super close. So
hopefully they'll get any ideas for next year.
I feel like we have previewed the National Open like 15 times now. You know what I mean?
Well, we did it right before. We did it early because you were leaving for California.
Yep, and then it got rained out.
The preview show, so we did a whole preview then. then we did a preview while you were in California that was completely different the week before, and here we are 3 weeks later doing it again.
I'm excited. It looks like the weather's going to be pretty nice, and I think it'll bring cars out. You know, they're going to be going in Charlotte anyway. I think everybody's going to come out. I don't think you're going to get the car count that you had earlier this year. I think you get maybe 40.
There was, what, 42 on Friday night for the original date?
They had
44.
Didn't they have 50?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I thought they had 50 cars. They had more than Port Royal, and I was really
There was
shocked.
a shit ton.
And
I think you don't get that. I agree.
No, I think you get maybe 40. I think some teams have shut it down at this point. Some teams aren't going to make that trek all the way out. They're not on the touring series right now. You know, I don't think you see Tyler Courtney come out. Maybe.
Come on, Tyler Courtney better be.
Why
No.
wouldn't he?
He didn't last. Well, they didn't last time because they were running the same weekend.
They're
But
not.
Not now.
I don't think they will. I think you'll see Peck. You'll see Reinhardt. I don't think you'll see Tyler Courtney.
I think you see all of them, and I think the only one I wasn't sure is Rico. Does he come back across? He's in
He can
California.
stay in California. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But does he? Does Brownie come back into town? Does
I think-
Jennington?
I think
Like
Jennington
Cordell?
does. I think Rico does. Brownie's the one that I really hope comes back, but I don't know.
Brownie
I don't
will.
know.
Brownie will because he's going to World Finals. I think he would stay over on this side.
Well,
Yeah,
and here's the other
that's a
thing
lot
I'm
of
thinking
money.
why they might is because Baps is Friday night. It's a 410 show.
Yes.
Right.
If
Those
they, have
guys.
if they have enough equipment, those traveling guys can go run Baps, right? The Outlaw
Go
guys
get a little
aren't
bit of
going
money.
to. They can run back-to-back nights, and they can go to World Finals.
Yep.
Isn't there? There's also a Bridgeport race the next weekend.
Yes, the weekend after the 3-night
And then
race.
there's Charlotte. So I think there's a lot of racing to be done over here to bring those guys in. I think you could see the mid 40s. You know, I don't think there's a lot of other races now. Baps, on the other hand, is Friday night. I don't think you get very many cars.
No,
Unfortunately,
22 cars.
I hate it that it won't, because I think if you're a posse guy and you have one good piece left, you're racing Saturday night. If you are, you're going to keep it for Saturday. If you're a posse guy and you have enough equipment, you're going to run Baps Friday night. You're going to run Williams Grove Saturday without affecting Saturday night's deal. If you're a traveler, you're going to bring enough stuff to run all of it, because why would you come to town to run a race? You're going to run all of it. So I have high hopes for Baps Friday because I love the place. I love going there. I love shooting there. I love being a fan there. I hope there's cars.
I think you see something similar to Port Royal. You get maybe 20 cars.
Mm,
Just because it's a Friday
No.
night. Because it's Friday. And
right.
maybe, and I think you're right, Jeremy. They might grab a couple extra out-of-towners. But, I mean, they had Buddy Kofoid in Port Royal, too, on Friday. So, I mean, they did have out-of-towners there, and they didn't get a lot of cars out. I just think it being Friday night in the in the fall now, I just don't think they get as many cars. Maybe. I mean, maybe they have enough for a full feature. I don't think they get like
I
30
think you
or-
get more Lincoln guys to travel to Baps than you do to get Lincoln guys to travel to Port on a Friday night. Because
Yeah, but
Baps isn't.
it's still-
It's halfway from Lincoln.
but-
I don't know.
But those
think it's
Lincoln
for
guys
me.
don't run Friday nights anyway. You know what I'm saying? Those
Right,
guys
it gets-
have jobs and shit. So
I think you get 30.
Yeah, but
No.
you're going to get your Tyler Ross, your Kyle Moody. You're going to, you're going to get Freddie. You're going to get Danny. You're going to get Senef. You're going to get these guys that would go there and support that track if they have enough to not affect a potential Saturday
Right.
run.
Right. Yeah. Anyone that's racing
That-
Saturday night that
That's
is on
the
the
debate.
edge.
You have
you're
enough
right.
equipment that you're not going to hurt Saturday night or put yourself behind for Saturday for the big
But
show.
how many guys aren't going to run Saturday because they can't really compete? Going to run
But they're going
Baps
to,
instead.
but they're going to run Friday. But I think there's more that will want to run
Right.
Saturday than say I give up. I'm going to throw my hands in the air for Saturday. I'll run Friday. No, there's only a very, very select few.
how much is
Right.
Friday paying? 5?
6, I think.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
I think it's 6.
I don't think you get much difference from Port Royal. Maybe you get a couple more.
Do you get any 360 guys? No,
Why not?
360s are actually in Delaware. URC's in Delaware Friday night.
But why not like a guy like Derek Locke just drop the 410 in for a night?
He'd probably
These guys
be in Delaware.
work on Friday, too. You
and
know what
they
I
might
mean?
work. Right.
Yeah, it's complicated.
But it is 7:30. You know that doesn't start till 7:30 Friday
Yeah,
night.
that's a
Still.
late start. That's why
Still.
I still think I might be able to make it.
Still, I mean, I don't know. I hope so. I'm not.
Right, it's gonna
too.
be.
I'm gonna be
the
there. I
cool
wanna see
thing
all
is
the
with
cars.
Baps, it's gonna be a good race either way. That's gonna be the cool thing.
I want to be main at Baps, man. I want to be. Damn it.
What else
So
is
I'm
running
right.
with them?
Late models, and then extreme stock feature only event.
Feature only thing. I mean, I love extreme stocks. I got a buddy of mine who races them. I love them, but thank God it's a feature only.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a late night, and that's only because of late night and cold. That I'm not saying because
Oh wait,
it's those cars.
nope. I had to sacrifice BAPS so I can go to work
What?
early on Saturday, so I can get to Williams Grove earlier Saturday.
I'm camping out,
Okay.
I think, on Saturday night.
I only have one piece left, so I had to
Yeet.
wait till Saturday.
I'm not gonna be super early Saturday, by the way. I have my daughter's homecoming. I got to get pictures and get her off to that, and then I'll be up.
I'll be
But
there
I'll be
probably
there.
most of the day, and I'll be there all night. So,
I'll probably be there by like 4 o'clock.
so
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
get you
I'm
up.
excited.
Anyway.
Speaking of National Open, we got the PA Posse National Open tomorrow night. Finally, we also have pushed this back. Gonna try to get maybe a couple laps here after this.
Why was it pushed back?
Rain.
Oh,
The sim introduced rain randomly,
Rain. It was a rain out.
Jimmy was out of town.
Wasn't
And
just that.
and George had a gig.
George had a gig too. So, but yeah, blame it on
But
me. It's
it
fine.
rained. It was
It
too
rained.
cold.
It rained. It rained. It was too cold.
So
This
in
start was
the
too late.
iRacing PA Posse world, this is our show. This is our race of the year.
Yep.
I've had the privilege to finish third in this thing once as a very average iRacer. After our tune-up race last week, I will be
fucking
lucky
guy.
to finish 20th.
This fucking guy.
Hoping for better results. What are your goals for this
Are
race?
you fucking serious?
Last season I
Serious
was
about what?
basically.
I'm gonna fire off.
Really?
Oh,
Average iRacer, get the fuck out of here. You are not an average iRacer.
I'm very average, sir.
Compared to what?
Well, pros. I
Real
guess.
racers?
No, iRacing pros. I mean,
I'm average compared to iRacing degens. And I
Chris,
passed you
I'm
last
average
week.
compared to average.
Figure
Average
the fuck
iRacer,
out.
bud.
There's the fire off. Chris is firing off 2 weeks in a row. How about it?
Fucking- When you have the fucking
about
best
fucking time,
driver
man.
around us saying, "Oh, I'm an average iRacer," go fuck off.
Listen, man, I'm not doing that.
You
to
passed
shit
me
on
on the
you
straightaway.
guys.
I
You're
am.
there for me.
I have half the motor you have. This is bullshit.
Listen, Jeremy said I should just hang it up because Jimmy passed me under green flag. I fucking took that shit personal because I was in front of him the entire fucking night and I got bottled up on a restart and that's the only reason he passed me.
I
Acted
added
like
your name to the list because I had the opportunity to fucking snake my way past 4 of you on that bottled up restart, and I couldn't hold any of those spots. I was garbage. So you
This is-
did.
Average iRacer would keep talking shit. I beat him 2 weeks in a row now, or 2 races in a row.
I've been
Okay. All right.
when I haven't gotten completely David Smealed, I have been a top 10 driver. No matter the competition at Williams Grove this year, I'm going to give myself a little bit pat on the back for that because I've much improved there. Last
to the
season,
point.
I did not get to run Natty Open. I was basically race control up in the tower because I was that dog shit. This year, I am definitely trying to just keep my top 10 pace. You know, I would like to get a top 10. If we get enough where there's a B-main and I make the feature, I'll be happy about that. I just want to have a good time and have a good race. You know, we've been having the last warm-up race that we had was phenomenal. I mean, it was
One caution.
one caution, really great racing.
Just bad luck with that caution too. Just
Yeah,
bad
I mean,
luck.
but just great racing. So I'm hoping I could just keep my, get my top 10 and that's it.
So you're going for top 10. Jeremy, what'd you say? What's your goal?
Top 20 after last week. I mean,
I'm just trying
listen,
to make the show, to be honest.
listen, I know I can be a top 5 car in that race. I don't know who's going to show up. I don't know who's going to be there, but I know Williams Grove. You guys know it well enough. Listen, I've been around. I know I can have top 5 speed, but the setup that I ran last week in that race is not going to work. And it is designed for that track, and it is not going to work, and it did not go well. So I'm going to go into tomorrow night with very little expectations, going back to an older setup and just race and see what happens. So my expectations are not very high, but hopefully I can rely on experience and keep it clean and get to the front.
Hopefully we can get some laps here tonight. And
I'm just trying to make the show. That's
Yeah.
That's my goal, honestly, in almost all the posse races.
Papa Griff over here. I'm assuming he's talking about real National Open here, not
Yes,
cartoon
definitely.
National Open. Who's your
Definitely.
pick? Who's your dark horse? We went over this before. I don't know if it's changed.
It's changed for me.
Yeah, me too. I think, man, it's hard to bet against Macri right now. But my pick is still Lance. My pick is Lance.
He's in a Macri shirt, just so we're all full
Yeah.
disclosure.
So,
Just being clear.
Oh, we're playing
Transparency.
favorites. So Brent Marks would have won that race the last time.
Mhm.
Was faster than Deweese. I don't care if Deweese was leading or not. It was faster than Sheldon by, I don't know, 2 seconds apparently. So I think I have no reason to think Brent isn't going to be a favorite for that race. Macedo's been good at Williams Grove this year. He's been like
Yeah.
a really good top 3-4 car. He's had speed. So if Clean Air gets out front, there's always that, right? There's always that opportunity. This race will come down to lap traffic like it always does. Hopefully there's enough green flag racing that they get the lap traffic. We don't have these breaks, but I think Brent Marks, you're going to have some motors, right? You're going to have some time trial stuff. Who's going to have a motor? Macri's going to be in that. Danny has been pretty good at the Grove here the last few months, so Danny's going to be there. Lance, listen, it's been a while since the Outlaws dominated Williams Grove. This year has been pretty good. They've had some. Obviously, Brad Sweet won, but I think the posse. When we started this season, I don't believe anybody really thought the posse would be as strong as they have been. We all had questions. We didn't know. We didn't know what Brent being around. Is Macri, can he step up? Freddie, Danny. Now Freddie hasn't had the year against the Outlaws that everybody probably would hope as if you're a fan, but Lance, Danny, Macri, Brent has been a very pleasant surprise for us here in PA. So I think all of those are there, and whoever's in the 71 with the Charlie Garrett under the hood is going to be a threat from
I think Elias
one. Probably Larson, so he won't win. I'm out on that. Dark horse.
I think Macri's my dark horse.
I don't see how you picked the most winningest driver in America
because
dark horse.
Because I can name like 5 or 6 other drivers I think would do better than him. He's been good at Williams Grove, but he's not. I don't know. I don't know if he's a winning car here. Is my point.
My dark horse is Lucas Wolf.
Ooh,
he's been really good lately.
That's a hell of a dark horse.
He's on FKs. That car's been fast here the last few weeks. If you look at some results and you look at where he's been timing, there have been some good results lately, and he's driving with some confidence. My dark horse is Lucas Wolf.
I like that. Chris?
Dude, has he won the National Open? No, right? Lucas Wolf?
Ooh, I like that one too.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Pittman comes back for this race. Like, let's be honest.
He's going to be good.
Pittman was my
race.
1A dark horse, to be honest. That was my dark horse because that's probably the only guy that could wheel that car to victory lane in this race.
Yeah.
I don't think if Borden's still in that ride that they win this race. I think Pittman is the guy.
Pittman's just so good at Williams Grove in general.
That team, the way they mesh, are just so good. He's probably the best thing for them other than when Honda was in the car. Just the way it worked. Favorites, obviously Lance has to be favorite posse side.
Really? I mean, I'm with you. I'm 100%
He's won the last 2 races there.
Yeah, but the one was a 10-lap race, so let's be real.
Okay,
and was the other one a tune-up when there was 19 total cars or something?
Yeah, just saying.
I'm with you on Lance. I do. I think he's
the car.
He's my pick.
Watching the car look good. I mean, Brent Marks obviously should be there, but I think David Gravel, he's hitting things. I don't want to see it, but I think he might be the guy that ruins the posse party.
If there's an outlaw that's going to do it, it's going to be Gravel.
Brock's going to fucking fence it.
Oh. I did not know Brock had a new crew chief.
He does.
And he did have 2 back-to-back top 10s.
I think Gravel, I mean, Shots is Shots, right? But I think Gravel's the guy. I think he's the one that ruins the posse party, unless you count like a Jacob Allen, who's been a little cooled off as of late, or Logan Schuhart. Those guys still. They both kind of cooled off in the last 3 weeks, but I think they were favorites we picked a few weeks ago. It's for the best if they don't. Swindell car's been garbage all year.
Well, are you going to put Justin Sanders in the fucking car? Get out of here.
But dark horse, I like that Lucas Wolf one. I think if you're not going to go Pittman, This could be Freddie's chance.
No, man. Come
is
on. Be real.
He has.
He's not even. He's gonna win the B main.
He has to win. He's racing for a championship.
What are
You said
talking
dark
about?
horse. You didn't specify. He didn't lock up the championship yet.
Dark. Okay, I give you the Freddie.
We
at
know
least you have
he
a
can
conversation,
drive there.
but he can't time trial.
Right.
He buries himself way too far.
If he could just get lucky and time trial okay.
No. Still then, no.
You know who I almost
You
said
said
my
dark
dark horse, and it was like on my mind. It was right there, and I almost said it. I'm going to say is Dylan Cisney.
Or Dylan Norris.
Slicks off.
Norris.
What?
We're just throwing out names now. I like the Cisney pick though because he's been
Is
really fucking
Cisney
strong
actually
there.
going?
Yeah, he was there for Friday night, and he ran well. He was really good. So he's been good at.
I would be cool with Cisney winning it. That'd be awesome.
Dylan Norris though. That's
Noah Gas. Let's just
start throwing out names, bro. Like fucking Troy Fraker.
Okay, now you're getting crazy. Norris has at least had speed this year.
Troy Fraker, Freddie Raymer, they have about the same amount of chance of fucking winning. Bro.
Time trial next to each other.
If Raymer wins this weekend, you all can fucking suck.
He's not gonna win, bro. Come on. When was the last time you even ran like top 15 against the Outlaws there?
Haven't seen it yet. You asked for a dark horse. I said Pittman.
Yeah,
I was just reaching a little farther.
Dark horse, like a guy
to win the race.
Yeah, a guy that has a shot to win the race. Freddie doesn't have a shot to win the race.
Like, you had us sold at Pittman, and you just threw it all out the window.
Even if you could have said Danny Dietrich, I would give you more credit.
You were like, that Pittman pick was way too smart. I'm going to give you this one.
Well, because I personally would love Pittman winning this race.
You know who else has been good at Williams Grove this year and like low key quiet is TJ Stutz, and he can time trial. That car's been fast. Now putting it all together, getting a whole night together,
that's always been his problem.
A challenge, but like, I mean, he can. There's some speed there.
I'd be here for that. Things fall, cool. Right? You never know. You never know how these things fall.
Upset of the year, right there, buddy. That would be the one.
Dude, that'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
I know, right?
We're burning it down.
Be a party.
Huh. Even if Lucas Wolf wins, that place might burn down.
I agree.
Oh yeah, for sure.
100%.
That place would be drinking fucking Pilsner fives.
But there's
certain posse guys that might just launch this thing even farther. I think Lucas Wolf is one of those guys because he's a fan favorite there for sure. All different reasons. Mostly because he grew up in Mechanicsburg, but like, and his dad and everything like that. Like Lance, obviously, but like Danny, even the place burns down in general.
Lafferty, you know,
if Rick Lafferty wins, holy shit, he won't be there.
Slick Rick, baby, Slick Rick.
But yeah, like
Slick Rick,
a TJ Stutz, Lucas Wolf, like a Jeff Halligan.
Those are like peak.
You don't have that
guys.
Following, but yeah, like posse.
Those are peak PA posse. Like they don't have. They're not able to go out and dude. I'm here for
everyone you just said has a better shot of winning than Freddie fucking Raymer. So, just saying. So,
is it Freddie the 51 or the 8? The 8, right?
Probably the 8.
Should be the 8. He gets to win the championship.
I bet he runs 51 on Friday night.
No, he has to run the 8 to win the championship. He's right.
Yeah, but Friday night at Babs.
Oh yeah, yeah. Friday night, I bet he runs the 51. I just thought of that. Anyway, what's next?
Drink it, dump it. Let's wrap it up.
How do you drink it, dump it? I go
drink
first. Dumping it for Rico Abreu.
Yeah, fuck that, man. That was such a fucking dumbass move.
Running over Corey Day and then like running over him again.
If you haven't seen it, go check it out because Corey Day, spun some tires on the straightaway. Okay, he gives him the bumper. Then he just straight David Smeals the motherfucker in turn 1, just completely clears him out. And Corey Day somehow, FDS, FRA, fuck that. I'm with you on that.
And drink it. I guess for Handmaker winning that 358 race, kind of cool. Guys I grew up watching. Still out there doing it.
Might have gotten cleaned out a couple times on iRacing by him. But,
I thought of another one, but I'll wait. Go ahead. Whoever.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Oh, my drink it would be Oh boy. I mean, honestly, like Griffey, my guy, like that's low key. Well done. I had all these things in my mind, and I'm like, man, there's some cool stuff to talk about. Kaylee Bryson, man, I didn't watch this whole race, but I was scrolling through something, and I'm like, Kaylee Bryson was like leading the race, and then I saw her time trial lap, then I saw her like battling with Grant, and I'm like, bro, this is real. Like she was
awesome.
ripping. Like, bro, I super impressed. Drink it, Kaylee Bryson. Well done, Griffey. You're yes, all of
fan
that.
of the week.
Drinking all of it, my guy. This not that. Dump it is man. Dump it would be all the equipment was torn up at Lincoln Saturday night. Like that sucks. Like why did they wait till the end of the year to tear up all this equipment? So shitty to get to the end of the season, and I don't know if that was like their Hail Mary, like hey, this is our one last hurrah, and just tore some shit up. So I hope not, but dumped all the equipment torn up. There was a lot of sheet metal laying around the pits Saturday night. Justin Whittle, side drink it, by the way. Cheers. Shout out, dude. Congrats, my guy.
My drinket's going to James McFadden. Good to see him get a win finally this year in that Roth car. So I was happy for him. Don't know what the future holds for him next year, to be honest. Does he come back to America? Does he have a ride? We'll see. I don't know any insider information or anything like that, but I hope to see him back. He was always, I've been a fan of him since he ran that Highlands number 3, and yeah, so happy to see him win. My dump it was Rico. I don't know who else to dump it out for, man. Maybe the season ending, season coming to an end.
Not yet, bud.
I know, not yet, but it's coming. It's pretty much here. I'm actually trying to. It's setting in, and I'm going to the Eagles-Steelers game, and I'm finding a way to try to also get to Bridgeport after the game, so I could go see some sprint car racing. So that might happen.
My other drink it, Steve Wilbur wins wingless sportsman's at Pat Valley a few weeks after being in the hospital for some injury. So
yeah, he really is Superman. Like
straight up, man. Like,
drink it up for that. That's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And also drink it up for Carmen Perigo. He had a strong showing in the Silver Crown car.
And for Brett Perigo, just because.
And Brett, being there.
Our guy.
Brett made a comment when he was driving there. He's like, "Oh, we passed Macri's hauler. It won't be the last time this weekend that we do that." I thought that was pretty cool.
But it was because
it was because he needed to get out there.
Poor guy. All right, what's next? Is that it?
I think we're done.
Wait. We don't.
Wait.
NASCAR Talladega Wednesday.
Oh yeah,
Wednesday night, full throttle.
Full throttle motorsports.
We could do a quick recap of Martinsville. This is all that matters. Smeal doing Smeal things. And yeah.
Can I tell you that in the last 3 weeks on iRacing, I've been hooked in the right rear 3 times. Now,
then it's learned from Bubba Wallace,
Tyler Isley,
you side draft,
Robbie Bice, and my teammate Jack Young yesterday at Port Royal. It wasn't really hooked in the right rear, but he spun the tires, tapped the wall, came down, collected me down the backstretch, handed Chris a podium.
Is that how you guys wrecked?
Yeah.
Because
I didn't know it at first. We ended up wrecking all the way in the middle of 3 and 4.
I didn't see you guys wreck. I just kind of saw you guys wrecked. Because I was so far behind because I'm slow. And I just went low in the jack and high around you and got both spots. I'm like, hey, stacking pennies. And then Tyler File went and wrecked. I'm like, hey, shit, 6th to 2nd, boys.
He passed me cleanly for 3rd, and a couple laps I changed some things around and ran him back down and got beside him down the backstretch. And he went up, just tapped the wall just a little bit, and it came swung the left rear down into me. I didn't know at the time, and we just got locked together and down the backstretch we went. But 3 times I've been on a straightaway, not in a corner. No.
Straight Bubba. You got straight Bubba, bro.
I look back at those things and wonder, I put myself in those positions, literally all of those.
Nope, nothing.
Nope.
Dump it out for that.
Anyway, Talladega tomorrow, or Wednesday, excuse me. With that, somehow I snuck into the next round of the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Not sure how, but Yeah,
I'm
looking forward to.
I'm
hopefully
definitely
wrecking
pushing
early
some.
to be
I'm
done.
definitely pushing somebody for a win or right into the fucking wall. So
Yeah, if
I have
get
nothing to
wrecked, we'll do
lose, so I'm
early.
probably gonna race my most aggressive Talladega race ever because I'm no longer in the playoffs. So I'm just gonna go try some things out and help my teammates out. Is the plan.
I like it. Let's do that, man.
yeah, I got one
Have
more
some
dump
fun,
it.
boys. Oh,
One more dump it. Dallas fucking Cowboys, you
No.
fucking suck. You're fucking trash.
Um,
Eagles, fucking
no, let me
6-0.
just-
Let's fucking go. Okay, that's it. That was
Why
it.
are you
All right.
the way you
is
are?
that the show?
Well,
Yeah, we're
that's
out.
the show. That's the show. I just ended
Wrap
it.
it up. We're out.
Thank you all
Done.
for hanging out with us for the past
Thank you,
2
guys.
hours. Thank you guys so much. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog. I don't care, but more people in the chat makes it more fun. So thank you guys all for coming out. And
If
we
y'all
will
gonna be
see
at the
you next
Natty Open this weekend, hit us
Yes.
up,
Find
find
Yes.
us.
We will be at
hit
the
us up on
Natty Open.
socials.
Backstretch.
One of these
From
goofballs
3.
will answer social media. Hit them up on somewhere,
Yeah.
and come out, say hi, meet us, hang out, drink a beer, yell at
Yeah.
something.
Maybe
We're
drink a beer,
Fireball.
drink 2, drink some Fireball. Whatever. Whatever floats
Hey,
your boat. Shout out. All right. Thanks,
appreciate
guys.
you.